Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is, why am I doing this so quickly? Saturday. It is the 2022 version of June the 25th. This is the news that's out today. Tottenham have taken £100 million out of the £150 million. The tranche has been withdrawn. What does that mean for our transfer targets? Does that mean we're going to buy Rafinha? Does it mean we're going to pay up for Richarlison? Does it mean that Paratici over in Italy is getting things done? And maybe the terms of a trade for a big player require a big slice of the transfer fee paid up front. Who knows? Right now, all you can say is that most of the deals that are closest to being done are either players leaving, like Steven Bergwijn or Harry Winks, or if they are coming in, it might be on loan, like a Clement Lenglet, Jed Spence. Are we walking away? We're going to find out what does that £100 million tranche withdrawal mean. Got a good panel. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the Spurs Talk Show, and that show starts right now. Lovely touch from him though. Harry Kane, Lucas Moura, can you do something, please? Last chance, Matt Doherty! Oh, you shite! There could be from the dead to the back it up now, go and win it! Let's go for the chance! Steven Bergwijn's through! Win it, Steven! Come on! Yes! He's won it! Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the show. It's Saturday. It's 2:05. Sorry for the delay in getting things done. We were just chatting in the background. We got a couple of old guests that have been here before. We got one guy who's been here, made his debut recently, but he's really making his debut today because the last time he made his debut it was amongst 15 other people, and it wasn't really an appropriate debut to make. Ladies and gentlemen, how's everybody doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. If you're new here, then welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. Before we bring in the guests, let me first and foremost make a member shout out to the guys, the Spurs Talk Show ponies, On Your Bike Scott, Ben Kaufman, Amisada, Aaron Dove, Chris, Lazy801, my boy Nick Cratch, and Queen Ellie. And on the Spurs Talk Show puppies, we got Bobby K, Marlon Green, V12, Shy FX, DB, Tottenham Gold, Catman Jess, Derek Smith, George, Moondog, Mark Cousins, Chris Agomba, Brains McLeod, and Hollywood Hotspur. Oh, wait, and Andy James, 63, and Wayne Bonner. My bad, forgot those guys. How's everybody doing? Big news out today. I'm not sure if it's big news, but it's big enough news for us to talk about something. Let's find out. 101 people already in the house. We've only been going for 4 minutes. And 2 of those was you guys getting the chance for one of the last times to see my piss stain. Because I'm changing that video. That video is changing. very soon. You know why? Because in all likelihood, Steven Bergwijn is no longer going to be a part of Tottenham in the next 2 weeks as all the players return from their holidays, which means this week coming up is going to be busy. It's going to be super busy with all the transfer news, views, and clues. Let's find out who we have in the show today. Ladies and gentlemen, let's find out who we got. Let's go to the guest selection.
All right, next contestant, spin the wheel again, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know him as Mr. Audacious. You know him as the man who still has the audacity to put numbers in his name alongside so many other people. And that's okay with them. It's okay with him. It's more than okay with me. I hope it's okay with you. Please welcome to the show. Oh, you know him as Cuba99. How you doing,
Big
Cuba?
up, Shawnee.
How are you, buddy?
Yeah, good to be on stream as always. Get real habit forming as always. But since pre-season, not pre-season, since the summer transfer window started, for some reason it's more exciting than usual until the last few days.
Yeah. Well, what's changed in the last couple of days?
No more signings.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, great while they're flying in through the door, isn't it? So,
yeah, and other teams are starting to make waves. They're starting to make bits, you know? Like orange juice with pulp, as I keep saying. Stay there, Kobe.
And I'll just point out how disappointing that you change in the opening credits, just as I'd thought of your good nickname for you, Alessandro Pistani. It's going to be ruined now.
Like that pair of trousers.
You should frame them.
Yeah, well, yeah. If I can still find them. I probably don't fit in them anymore, to be honest. Let's find out who else is in the house. Ladies and gentlemen, making his return after Thursday's chaotic show, the 6-hour marathon, in which this man was a part of it for, I don't know, a couple of hours, but he has to fight. Everyone had to claw with their fingernails to get a word in edgeways. Such was the madness of that show. Today's going to be a little bit calmer. Let's welcome to the show. He's a Tottenham fan. He's from a very, very cool channel, a channel that I watch every time they go live. Although today, he seems to be wearing more orange or shades of red than I feel quite comfortable with on the channel. Please welcome to the show from the Hotspur herd, Tommy Mitchell. How are you, Tommy?
What's up, man? What's up? Do you know what? I think this is my first Saturday lunchtime stream for almost a year.
Wow.
And not quite, as you say, not quite losing my virginity. On your channel, but
the first time you got finger banged, it was like we got to second base.
It was quality though. And when you said Spurs fan, I was like, oh man, I'm wearing red. My back, my wall's red.
There's a lot of orange, a lot of red.
I got a Celtic shirt there. I got a Roman shirt there. But yeah, no, it's great to be here, man. I love you. I love your show. I love your shows, man. And even 6 hours, it was packed and it was quality all the way through.
It was mental. I don't remember the last 4 hours of it, if I'm honest. And I can't be bothered. I was sitting there going, you know what? I should probably put chapters into that. I should probably go back and go, anyone who wants to catch it later needs to know at what points the conversation transitions. But I can't bear to watch a show back that I've been on because I always cringe when I see myself back. So unfortunately, the 6 hours are going to live and they are going to stay how they are. Tommy, thank you, mate, for coming on. I don't think you're wearing red. You're wearing orange. Maybe it's in tribute to.
I would say so. It's a
shade of orange. Orange is the new white, and maybe it's in tribute to Steven Bergwijn leaving us imminently and going off back to Ajax. Welcome to the show, and let's get the next guy in, the last guy in, before we go and find out who is in the comment. Ladies and gentlemen, this guy needs no introduction, but I am going to give him. I'm going to give him the doorbell. Someone's at the door. Who could it be? Ladies and gentlemen, you know him as the only man in all of Tottenhamdon who's got a 6-pack on his index fingers. I know him as Mr. Levy Out. Some people know him as Levy's twin, as Mr. Cucurella with a haircut. We don't know where we're going to go. We're going to call him Brian Daigle. What's happening, Brian?
Everything is all good, Sean. How are you, Kuva, Tommy, and everyone in the chat?
Good here, mate. Always good to see you.
All good, buddy.
Always a pleasure.
Real good, buddy. Real good. lots to talk about, and we're going to get to that in just a second. But I'm going to try and squeeze through. We're only 10 minutes in. I'm going to try and get through all of the welcomes as super quick as I can. Let's find out who is in the house. Who wants to say hello to the channel today? Daryl Denton's in the house. He starts off by saying he loves how this club has to tell everyone what they are doing. You can tell they're not used to acting like a top club. Yeah. Well, I think you have to. From what I've gathered over the last couple of months, reading back in and amongst the financial disclosures that they had, because they are still technically a club they're still a publicly listed club. They're not on the stock exchange, but I do think they had to announce to Companies House in order to make it official that they're taking the 100 million tranche. So I don't think it's by choice, but I do see where you're coming from. Appreciate you stopping by, Dal, as ever, my friend. Oh,
sorry, that was me. I turned my phone went off, and it was you. I had you in Dolby surround sound.
Nice. One Sean is enough. Turn the second Sean off, for God's sake. The hottest Spurs here saying, Sean, correct me if I'm wrong here, but is this money essentially coming from share buybacks? ENIC will have an extra 2% stake in Spurs after this. That's why it has to be declared on Companies House. And he follows up with, and if this is the case, then is that sustainable long term? Like, are ENIC going to continue to invest in this fashion long term, even after this window, or revert to type? I'm going to star it, mate. In a nutshell, it's not like you're right and you're wrong, in as much as they did have to announce it to Companies House because it is part of they're a public company still, even though you can still buy and sell shares on Tottenham. You can't do it in any major exchange. And ENIC obviously own like 85% or whatever it is of the company. But it's not a share buyback is where companies that have got excess profits will use the money to then go and buy shares back from people, like from shareholders, in order to massage numbers, in order to make their profits per share look better than they have. This is the opposite of that. This is an investment of capital. So actually there's more shares in issue now than there were before. So it's not a share buyback, it's a share distribution, a share reallocation. So it's the opposite of a share buyback, but it is also why ENIC had to announce that to Companies House. So you're somewhat right and somewhat wrong on that one, mate. And will it happen in the future? That's down to ENIC. Depends on, I guess, on what happens with this first money and whether we need money in the future. But let's hope so. Let's hope that if we need money in the future, that there'll be money available.
We're still coming back to this one, Sean.
What, to that particular comment?
Yeah.
Are you saying that in jest because I've already spoken about it, or are you?
Yeah, no, because there was something I was going to ask about it. That was all.
Oh, go on. Yeah. We can talk about it now. Go on. Yeah.
Okay. Does that basically, if I'm reading it rightly, would that mean it's Daniel Levy's basically diluting his share of the company?
No, he diluted everybody else's. So the 86%.
Hasn't he got like personal shares in the company as well as?
No, he's got his. So this is what massively confused me when I first reported on it. Him and his family's trust own a slice of ENIC. They own 26% of ENIC, not 26% of Tottenham. So that Daniel Levy's slice of ENIC is what is part of the investment into Tottenham Hotspur. There's still 14%, give or take, of people like you or me who used to own shares when it was traded on the AIM market, and that they actually never wanted to sell those shares for whatever reason. And even though they've been diluted, everybody's been diluted by 2%. What was interesting was if you take 2%, if it's £150 million valuation, or whatever it was, 1.8%, it basically valued the company at 7.5 billion, according to like just the essential math of figuring it out. So
basically, I got it completely the wrong way round, because I read it as it's Levy diluting some of his personal share in it for an ENIC as an entity taking it up. Yeah, okay, right. Fine.
ENIC and Daniel Levy get a little bit more, and everybody else gets a little bit less, but they're paying 150 million quid for it, essentially. Right.
Fair enough.
Martin Wild's in the house saying, I'm not sure if they needed to declare the 100 million being used for transfers, but the original 150 million had to be made public. Well, they actually did. They had to announce it to Companies House, and then somebody somewhere that was very smart, obviously, went and found it in the Companies House disclosure, and then that's how it's probably got out. Whether or not Tottenham made an actual physical announcement on their website, I haven't seen, but we do have the news to talk about in a second. I'm going to say hello to people really quickly here because we haven't got that long today, guys. Mark Cousins in the house saying big up Sean on the panel. It's pub day. Pub day! Good to see you, Marky. Hope you're okay. SOF's in the house. What's happening? Jam or AJM is saying, yo, what's happening, my man? Hi, Sean. Any golf tips? Yeah, we can talk about that another time, buddy. I'll reach out to me. Email me. I'll message you on the members only content thing, and we'll talk about that. Stevie Fraser's here saying afternoon all. Big up, Shawnee boy. Big up, Stevie Fraser. I hope you're well, my friend. Paul's here as well, as is Big Boss Man. What's happening, buddy?
Big up, Big Boss Man.
Born to Lose is here saying afternoon, Sean, and all in the chat. We're taking care of business, baby. That's what we're going to talk about, and that's what we have got to talk about very quickly because this usually takes me 45 minutes just to get through everyone. It's not going to do that today. Mark, I almost said Mark Levy then. Mark Ivy is in the house saying, please come home with Martinez and Bastoni or Bremer. Love that, Mark. Welcome to the show. Craig Bowler, my man, is here. I think you need cash up front for agent fees. The actual money for players will be paid in installments, so 100 million goes a long way in that sense. I agree, my friend. I agree. Jack Henicki's in the house saying, Mr. Butler. Hey, Jack. How you doing, my friend? Duncan Rathband is here saying, big up, Shawnee. Big up, my friend. Coach Sean saw the talent needs another opportunity. I'm not sure what that means, Jack. I'm not sure what that means. I'll tell you what that does mean, though. Loves Music's here saying, big up to you. Jack Henicki's the newest member of the Spurs Talk Show. I'm not sure if you're a puppy or a pony, my friend, but either way, I love you for being a contribution to the channel. And we are now, I think we're at the threshold now where we can start to do the fan phone shows with me do that. Jack, thank you so much, man. Really appreciate that. It means the world to me, buddy. Absolutely means the world. Another member, Nick, is here saying, how are you so energetic this early, Shawnee? It's early for you. It's not early for me, mate. It's not early for me, buddy. Good to see you, Nick. Michael Bennett's here saying, happy Saturday, peeps. Good. Coming Spurs, make this a happy week with some signings. Mojo Matsie's here saying, hello. Hollywood Hotspur all the way from LA. That is early. That's like 7 o'clock or something over in LA. Good to see you, my friend. Cratch is here as well. Tony Cornelia. I've got my eye on you. See what I did there, Cornelia, whatever.
Oh,
John
very
Lindsay.
good. Very good.
Appreciate that. If you have to call it out, it's probably not as good as it could be. John Lindsay. Hi, all. How you doing, John? Damianos 13. Can you smell what the Don is cooking? We really hope so, my friend. THFC Brown's here as well, as is El Sayed. And I think, Nitan Sashidaran. Thomas Murnia for our right wing back. Let's come back to that one. It's a nice little conversation.
Yes.
I'm going to start that bad boy.
Nice shout, that one.
And I think that's everybody. Neil Shafton's here as well. Good afternoon, Neil. As is Stuart. How you doing, buddy? As is JGR, Make, Mackay, Joseph Monahan, Scott Hynam, Aditya Shrivestava. Sorry if I'm butchering your name there, man. It's a tricky one. Josh Smith, the Spurs fan, and Neil Shafton. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, one and all. Ladies and gentlemen, if you do want to get your memberships in, the reason why I put the comment subscriber required to comment thing, two reasons. One is, and I learned this last night listening to Will Stewart on his channel, great channel, by the way, go and check it out, is because if you do put the subscriber thing on, it stops the porn links coming through. I miss them a little bit, but also I think it's a better experience for you guys who probably aren't as deviant as myself to not have to see them. And also, there's still 55% of people that watch my show and come back regularly that aren't subscribed. I don't know why. Please subscribe, guys. Please subscribe. We were just speaking about Will Stewart. He's in the house. What's happening, Will? Good to see you, my friend. And the other thing, guys, just quickly, memberships. There's two memberships. There's a £2 a month one and a £5 a month one. If you choose either of them, then as of from now on, I'm going to be putting the channel link. I won't be doing it live into the stream as much anymore, unless it's a specific show that's Chaos is the part of it. They'll be going into the members part in the background where everyone can come on and have their say. So if you do want to get a membership, we've got 25 in like 3 weeks. It's insane. I'd love you guys to come and join. Choose either one. You're still going to have access to come and talk to us. Ladies and gentlemen, we're done. We're done with the welcomes. Hope everyone is okay. 190 people in the house. Please hit the like button and the subscribe button and the notification bell because we always go impromptu. Okay. That's the Fastest I've ever done, 20 minutes. I'm pretty impressed with that. I'm going to come to you first on this, Kuba. The news. Let me read this out first, buddy, and then I'm going to hand it over to you to go with it. Where is my news? Where is my news from football? Where is it? Oh, Jesus Christ. Where's it gone? It's disappeared. Bear with me. Football London. Here we go. Here we go. Football London. Ali Gold, one of the probably the most trusted journalists that when it comes to Tottenham stuff, he's pretty accurate. Tottenham have drawn down £100 million of the £100 million cash injection from owners, ENIC, to put towards the summer transfer window. Last month, the club agreed a capital increase of up to 150 million quid from majority shareholder ENIC through the issue of convertible A shares and accompanying warrants, blah, 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 blah. Tottenham have drawn down 100 million of the cash injection to increase their capital as they look to make their next move in the transfer window. The club confirmed the decision by filing the motion with Companies House on Friday, which mentions the date the shares were allotted was on May 27th, and the remaining £50 million can be drawn later. I won't bother going through all the other stuff. It's just basically referencing the previously spoken about distribution and dilution of shares. But in a nutshell, Kuba, we have to spend, if we want that 150 million quid, it has to be spent before the end of the year, before December the 31st. If it doesn't, it gets taken back. The dilution doesn't happen, or it happens in some shape, depending on how many of the shares were taken. Just before I go any further, before we talk about what's happening with the certain transfers and all that stuff, what do you think? What do you think this means? Do you think that we should be excited that we need the money now because there's something happening?
First of all, I think we need to clarify: has it been specifically said that this money is available for transfers?
The majority of it has. The majority of it, but majority is obviously
that could be 51 million of it, couldn't it?
Yeah.
So it could be a very minor influx in cash. Secondly, how much is in the kitty already?
Yep.
As in, are we building up to a really substantial fund, or does it mean the kitty was virtually empty, and that's why we're haggling over the likes of Jed Spence, and we signed Basuma on a budget and we're going with free transfers? And how much of these, as Greg Bowler rightly points out, you can spread 100 million over several seasons when you're buying players. You also have to take into account the fact that we've already been doing that. So some of the money is going to be allocated to paying for the ones we've already done that with, the likes of the Ndombele's, the Lo Celsos, and whoever else we've got on those pay over several year deals. So while you can stretch the influx over the next few years, you've also got to pay off what you've already done. It could leave a very underwhelming amount of money left, and I don't know how much is there. I'll be amazed if anybody else really does, unless you're the likes of Daniel Levy or somebody very well connected at the club. So it's going to be a case of wait and see. We could be in for an incredibly underwhelming window that promises tons. Does this fit in with Daniel Levy's MO for me? Yeah, certainly does. So I'm starting to get a little bit worried about what we're going to be seeing, because if it's the likes of haggling to get the likes of Jed Spence over the line, and we have to take this cash influx just to chuck an extra couple of million on that and bring in a few modest signings, this could be a bad window. However, if you want to be positive, let's just say it's purely a price thing with Jed Spence. We don't want to get over a barrel over it, and we're looking to inject these funds to bring in a bigger name, which would be great. But I can't answer that question. I just simply don't know. I'm going to have to wait and see. I'm just
but where's your... Well, I think I can tell. I think you sound a little bit more cynical, a bit more suspicious than you are optimistic on this one.
As every day goes by, approaching the start of pre-season, I'm getting more and more worried about it, because it fits then in what we've always done, leaving things too late, sign players when the season's already started. Now, if we're trying to be really ambitious, and we bloody well should be if we got Conte at the club, otherwise what is the point?
Yeah,
we've got to be targeting Manchester City. It's unrealistic to assume we're going to go straight above them this season, but we've got to have them in our sights. That is who to aspire to. That's who we've got to close the gap on. And you've got to do that as quickly as you can, as professionally as you can. If we're leaving it to the very last minute to bring players in, miss out on the pre-season, players arriving after we've even played the first game, we could be throwing away points in the start of the season when Manchester City are steamrolling other teams, and we're 6 or 7 points behind in the first month or something like that. 6 or 7 points advantage to Manchester City is massive, because they're not going to be throwing away very many points at all. I've got them down for probably finishing on 100 points or more this season. They've strengthened that heavily up front. Alvarez is a fantastic player. When you get on Haaland on top of that, they could be exploding goals all over the place. They're going to be absolutely the team to beat again. If we can try and keep up with that as long as possible and hope for a bit of luck, maybe they get some injuries, maybe things don't work out quite as well as they could do. You never know. If we keep ourselves within a realistic chance of trying to make up some ground on them at some point, what a great season we could have. But if we scupper that by not having the players in, as Conte wanted, for the whole of pre-season, so they're physically tuned up for the start of the season and they're in tune with each other. There's a bit of a gelling process going on, players getting to know each other, and we hit the ground running. If we fail to do that, what a missed opportunity it could be. Because if we do brilliantly and we finish just a few points behind Manchester City, you know, we'd have had a brilliant season. But we could still be looking back and saying, what if we'd just got these players in earlier and we didn't drop the points in those first few games? Yeah. What a crime that would feel like, just because we're not getting stuff done when we should be.
Well, hopefully we are. I hear your take on it. You sound concerned. Just before I come to you, Tommy, and then to you, Brian, just ever so quickly, Mark, the invite to the members page. No, it's like when I post the links, it will be in the it'll be posted on via YouTube, and it will go to the members for the StreamYard links. But today's just going to be the four of us, and we're just gonna work away. But generally speaking, there'll be the all of the links that will be optional for you guys to join will be available. So there's no like members page. It's just members posts that you'll see when I post them as soon as we're ready to go on that one, man. So bear with me, buddy. And lastly, I'm just going to also come up to Tony K's question here. I've starred this one. It's a nice little question, Tony. Bear with us, mate. I'm going to come back to it a little bit later on. 234 people in the house within 27 minutes. This is madness. Guys, if you haven't already, please hit the like button. There's only 61 likes. I'm not even going to ask you to hit the like button. If you want to hit the bear with us. But if you want to hit the dislike button as well, that's okay. I'd rather get a broad spectrum of whether you enjoy the content or don't enjoy it, rather than no insight at all. Obviously, I'd rather you hit the like button. But...
Sorry, very quickly, just the last point to add on to why I'm getting a little bit more cautious.
Yeah, go on.
Is that if reports are true, then Daniel Levy was involved in the negotiations and the Jed Spence deal, which then confirms that he is not taking the back seat that people were harping on about in transfer policies. And it is not down to Paratici this window. Levy is involved, in which case things have not changed the way we're led to believe they have.
Yeah, unless Paratici asked him to take over that one, because he was...
It's possible.
He's only got so many...
I suppose that could be a positive way to look at thinking of it. We're doing so much business that he needs him to deal with some of it because he's in Italy doing his thing. Hopefully that's the case.
Hopefully. Tommy, mate, I appreciate you, Kuba. Love what you said there, mate. I'm surprised that you're seeing this news as a little bit cynical. I'm not surprised you... I know how you feel about Daniel Levy, but I'm a little bit surprised that you're... I'm like, this is good news, right? We need the money. Why do we need the money? Tommy, why do we need the money?
It could be.
Why do we need to know this? Why have they announced this? What other club announces this? I've never known another club.
They have to announce it, I think, because they're still they're one of the few publicly listed companies still, and so they have to announce it.
Okay, well, I guess they announced it They announced something similar a few weeks back, didn't they? 150 million is going to be pumped in on and off the pitch. Could be on, could be off the pitch. The problem is, if we think that's going to be the complete transfer budget, if we think the £100 million is going to be the overall transfer budget, it's not enough, really. I mean, it's not something to go crazy about and be ultra positive about. I mean, we spent 3 seasons ago, we spent £100 million on Lo Celso and Ndombele. Plus more. I think there was another 50, 60 million pounds spent. So if the Spurs fans are going crazy about £100 million that we're willing to spend, then I'm not in that frame of mind. I'm not negative either. It's just very odd because I've never seen a club come out with this statement. Well, the proof is in the pudding. And it's all well and good. We've signed Fraser Forster. He is a free 34-year-old. Perisic, who I think is going to be a great signing. Again, a free. So the only money we've really spent is £25 million. Yeah. Again, that's not a problem as long as they're Conte's transfers. It doesn't really matter how much we spend, as long as Conte wants them. Because Conte traditionally doesn't spend that much money. He really doesn't. He doesn't spend a great deal of money at his other clubs he's managed. But so far, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good in terms of who we've been signing. But proactivity, if you look at the proactivity of clubs like Liverpool, they take it to a new level. Just look at Núñez. Origi's contract runs out. They get Núñez in. Diaz in January. They knew Mane was going. They absolutely knew Mane was going. This window, they got Diaz in January to get him ready to take over. Then you got young Calvin Ramsey. You've got young Carvalho. So we've been proactive to a certain degree, but nowhere near that level. So I think, as Kuva already mentioned, we need to get the players in now. Well, whoever we do decide to get, we need to get them in ASAP, soon as possible, because Conte's philosophy is hard to integrate. Very, very difficult to integrate. The fitness regimes, right. The running. 100%. I remember when Reggie first signed. Conte. He first signed his first week. Reggie came out with, "This has been the hardest week of my life." Like literally within the first week, because he really does run you into the ground, takes fitness levels to the next level. So you need time. So far we've done pretty well. It's been a weird one because we actually moved fast to a certain degree. It's died down. It's died down over the last few weeks. So yeah, we've got to get going. We've really got to get going. So yeah, I mean, it will be nice if we can get.
Are you worried about this? Just to clarify, I'm not sure. Like, just for anyone that's like that might be confused, just in case you are. So the 150 million was announced a few weeks ago. They had to announce that money because Tottenham are still, whilst they're no longer publicly traded on the stock exchange, you can still be a minority shareholder. Like if you or I or anybody else had bought shares, back in the day when Alan Sugar was the chairman and they were on the alternative investment market, they didn't have to sell to ENIC, and 18% of people didn't. And so because they are still a publicly tradable company, they had to announce that. And then they had to announce, and the rules of that were that here's 150 million and you can take it down in tranches of 50, 100 or 150 million. You take it all at once, or in tranches of either 350s or 100 million, and then the final 50 million, which is what they've done. But they have to announce that. So as much as everyone seems a little bit like frustrated, like, oh, why are Tottenham having to do this? It kind of gives the game away. It alerts other clubs to the fact that Spurs have got money. It's just an unfortunate reality of being a publicly listed company that you have to do it. What I'm interested in is, what does that mean? And Brian, I'm going to come to you.
Yeah.
Now, Tommy, I appreciate your first insights, mate. Loads more on this one. Before we get that one, Eric Backer's in the house with a super chat saying Chelsea apparently favourite for Richarlison. Eric, what I'm going to do, mate, I'm going to pause that and come back to it, because once we've got through Brian's initial thoughts, I then want to go to, well, let's look what we've done so far, as Tommy and Kuva have already alluded to it. And then because we haven't really spent any money, and because it looks like Bergwijn's out the window next, that's kind of whatever we get for Bergwijn probably covers a lot of what we paid for Bissouma. So what does the money look like? Does it mean we're going to spend money on Richarlison? And to your point, Eric, maybe Chelsea are already the favourites. We're going to come to that stuff in just a minute. But Brian, I want to hear your take first on just the overall news. Do you think it's positive? Are you cynical about it, suspicious about it, or do you think this means that Tottenham are about to do business, given that all the players have been on holiday and now they're back?
I mean, so first of all, Sean, I think it's a bit harsh of you to chuck Bergwijn out the window. Out the door would have been nicer.
Oh, sorry. Out the
window was a bit harsh, mate. But no, listen.
Well, he didn't do very much, did he? Apart from the Leicester game, I don't really remember.
To be fair, it is a transfer window.
There you go. That's a good point, Kuba. Okay. So, right.
Fair point.
I'm going to be very precise in what I say, because I said something which I said on your show, Sean, a few days ago. Then I said it on We Are Tottenham TV. And I said my Levy sense of tingling, and I said why.
You
But what I caveated that with is I think we will spend the money. I just don't think it will be done by career. But then people went, "Oh, Brian Levy out again. He's saying this, he's saying that. He's always so negative." No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I think we will spend the money. I really do. I just don't think it's going to be. I think a majority of our. I've said this all along. I think a majority of our transfer budget, or we don't know what the budget is, like Dan Cooper said at the beginning. We don't know what's in the bank balance already. Champions League money, concert money, boxing money, NFL money, finishing fourth money, sponsorship deals for sleeve, training gear. The money's there.
Yeah.
What people got to learn is we've announced, whether we had to or not, we've taken £100 million out of wherever you want to say it. Mate, we could all be going on a night out and withdraw £500 from a cash point. Doesn't mean you're going to spend it. Doesn't mean you're going to spend it. It's there.
But you have the intentions to potentially go that far, right?
Yeah, you have the potential, but you could say, "Oh, I'll keep this in my pocket or keep it in my back," whatever. It doesn't mean 100 million's out, 100 million we're going to spend. As I said, I'm going to say it again. I do believe we are going to spend the money.
Yeah.
I honestly, and Sean, you've heard me. I've said this the whole time. It's just been a case of Antonio Conte said, "I want my players early." We've had other managers say, "I want my players early."
Yeah.
Never happened.
Yeah.
Never ever happened. Don't get me wrong. The 3 players that have come in is definitely an improvement on what we have seen before. There's absolutely no doubt whatsoever. Perisic has come in, hugely improves that side of the squad and that position. Didn't understand the Fraser Foster one to begin with, and I was very critical of it. But now I take a step back and realise I was wrong.
With hindsight, well, I'd rather got Alex Pope, wouldn't you? 9 million
Mate,
quid for Pope,
Alex
over
Pope,
3 for Fraser.
yeah.
Alex, was it Alex Pope?
Nick Pope.
Nick Pope. Sorry, who's Alex Pope? I know someone. I must have known.
Right, you're just making people out, be chucking them out windows. What's going on with you today, mate? No, what I mean, I've been very open with this when I say that I wanted Henderson, who's gone on loan to Nottingham Forest. Great bit of business by Nottingham Forest. I think we have a wonderful season then, like Sheffield United may do enough to keep him in the league, not just personally, but he's a great base to have. So Nick Pope would have been one, but will Nick Pope come when he knows World Cup year, blah, blah, blah. So you're looking at it that way. Again, like I'm kind of like what Kuva said. I am putting my neck on the line and literally wanted to put a shred of faith in him.
Yeah.
And saying, do you know what? This may be.
I know. Yeah, and it's brave of you. I get that. And you know what, mate? I think you're not like you and Kuva and Tommy. Like none of you guys have said anything that's like this means something that's positive. All of you have kind of thrown a negative, not a negative, but like a kind of a cynical approach to it. And you guys aren't alone. Everybody in the comments, everyone. I haven't seen anybody, as far as I can tell, who's like, this means something. Maybe I'm alone in this one. Sorry, Brian.
What I was to say, the way I look at this is when I use this analogy quite a bit, or not an analogy. If you look at it, when we sacked Mourinho, whatever reasons, and I'm using that for a reason. It took me a while to think. I thought, you know what? That's not the first time he's done that. We've just sacking a manager and then bringing in, and obviously Mourinho got us to a final. The very first act Daniel Levy did as a chairman was sack George Graham and bring in Glenn Hoddle. Forget it was before a semi-final. Forget it was before all that. It was a filth. But the first thing he did was sack the devil, in some people's eyes, he's ex-Arsenal, and bring in God, which obviously won the fans over immediately. Oh my God, God's return. We got rid of Aguna.
Smart move though for a new chairman. Right?
But then I look at it, and then you look at when these big guys come in. Man City, the first thing they did when they first took over, all right, the deal didn't work out right. Here you go, here's Robinho. I'm inventing. This is the state of our intentions. Here you go. We're going to smash our transfer record. Bang, we're going to bring in. And Robinho, this is what I'm worried about. This is where I've seen this before. I really, as I've said to you, I will go on every channel publicly, even on mine and Danny's, and go, do you know what? He's done good this year. Let's hope. I want to do it. I really, really want to do it. And like we've said, with like a majority you can't help but be skeptical. we've heard this before. We've seen this before. I really, really, really want it to prove that. I mean, like Kuba said, the reason why my Levy senses started tingling was obviously Jed Spence. All this talk, no offer. Christian Eriksen. I mean, a lot of it, like we said, a lot of it is paper talk. So don't get me wrong. This isn't official from the club, but it's the same. Like Richarlison and even Rafinha. You hear these words. We're bracing. Teams go out and do. The filth are going out and doing. Man City, all right, they've got all the money.
The filth are doing bits.
They're doing bits.
Well, at least it appears to be. We'll see what happens. But it appears to
Man City are doing bits. Newcastle. A few days ago, people go, "Oh, it doesn't matter. No one else is spending big. No one else is doing anything." Well, Newcastle have gone out and made big roads into what they're going to do, and here we are bracing for a bid. Not here you go. We're serious about this. Here's your fucking money. Listen, it's official. Bracing for bids. And I know people will go, this is what Paratici does. This is what... I understand that. But pre-season's next week now. Next week. And here we are.
Yeah.
And like I said...
Do you think maybe it was... Let's pause with the... like the suspicion stuff for a minute. Do you think it was a little bit over-optimistic to think that, given the international window that happened as soon as the season finished, and given that, bearing in mind that Fraser Foster wasn't playing for, I don't think Perisic was playing either, and I don't think that Bissouma wasn't playing for Mali. So those three transfers were probably a little bit easier to get done. But anything to do with some of the other players like Bastoni, I'm not saying Bastoni's on, but just any of the other players we've been mentioning, any of the internationals, they had to play 3 weeks of internationals. Then they've had their holiday. People like Christian Eriksen, like he's been, or Gabriel Jesus, any of these players, like they're going to make their mind up when they finish their holiday, which is this weekend. They come back on Monday. They should all be back from their 2-weeker. And then now I think next week's going to be the busiest transfer week. I think you're going to see a shit ton of here we goes and holding the shirts. Do you think it was a bit over optimistic, Brian, to expect Paratici just by himself, or hopefully by himself, to get 5-6 done by career?
Well, maybe not 5-6, but what I will say is when people say they've been on the international duties, you've got to look at people like Tomiyasu and Brian Hill last season who were away in Japan in the Olympics. The way football is done now, the medical team can have the medical done by the doctors there. It doesn't all have to be done at Hotspur way. Paperwork can be emailed. Everything can be done. It doesn't have to be now directly between everything at the club. If a deal's accepted by the club and everything's ready, it's out there now that you can have your medical, get the paperwork signed. Even when we signed, I can't remember if it was a couple of years ago, but we'd signed him, but we didn't release anything because he wasn't out Hotspur way to hold the shirt and do the official unveiling.
Yeah.
But the players can be signed, still delivered. They're just not unveiled. You can announce we have signed them, but there's none of the photography work and all that goes on because they're away. Like with Brian Hill at the Olympics. It was announced he signed whilst he's in Japan. So these deals can be done. So when they say away on international duty, that one doesn't wash. Not just for me, but I mean everyone in world football.
They can take the medical teams. We see it at the end of windows.
Exactly.
When it's 30th of August, 31st of August, it comes alive. Like the majority of the transfers, at least 25% of the transfers happen last 2 days of the window. They send the medical teams and they get it done over the line. Like interest can happen 4 hours before the window closes and they still get it over the line. So yeah, I think that's a bit of that's a bit of a get out. But look, Sean, you say they were on international duty, and look, you don't need to rush right now. You don't need to rush at this point. But look, I think somebody said, Newcastle haven't been proactive. Well, they have been. Nick Pope, Botman, they're doing business as well now. They're starting to do business.
Botman confirmed?
2 very good signings. I think. I'm pretty sure it is.
Anyway, you can't imagine the player's going to turn them down.
Smart business.
Yeah, Sven Botman's a fantastic player. Yeah. He wasn't someone. We did a show on this channel where we reviewed. I've said it before. We reviewed like the 5 left centre back options at the time that were mentioned. Not talking about Indikas or any of those or Hincapié, but we compared Ben Davies to Pau Torres to Bastoni to Sven Botman to Clement Lenglet, who I'm going to talk about in a minute, and to Gvardiol. And Sven Botman was like a bit of an enigma. Ben Davies was basically 5th of the 6th. For every meaningful stat, he was usually 4th or 5th. Pau Torres, for what it's worth, was literally last for every meaningful stat over a 2.5 year period when we reviewed with Coover and Will Stewart. And then you had at the very top of the list, for a left-sided centre-back, you had basically a duel to who was 1st or 2nd. It was always Gvardiol or Clement Lenglet, which is why I'm a massive fan of Lenglet, and we'll talk about him. But Sven Botman didn't he was weird in that he was by far and away first in certain things. He was a monster tackler. He was a monster header in the air. His ability to be, I don't know whether you want to compare him to like a better version of a Vestergaard or something like that, but he was like, because he's 6'5", you know that he's brilliant in the air. He was a brilliant tackler. He's not slow, but he's not someone that seems to be very creative and brilliant with the ball at his feet and his distribution. So if we were to have signed him, I would have been okay with it, but maybe more as a central centre-back rather than on the left-hand side. He's gone to Newcastle, and to your point, Tommy, I think Newcastle have done really well with that signing.
Yeah, I mean, he's a 4-4-2 man, isn't he? He may struggle in a 3 because Botman's only played in a 4-4-2, but he's got a Liga title to his name already. Lille won it 2 years ago over PSG, which is incredible. And Botman was a big part of that. Renato Sanchez was a big part of that. Jonathan David was a big part of that. That's why teams are going for those players now, because they've done extremely well. So yeah, I think they've done good business. But don't get me wrong, we've started well too. It's just a bit sad that we haven't heard too many rumours over the last few days. Believable anyway, because João Felix is not coming to Spurs. Let's face it, that's not happening.
Yeah, I saw your Hotspur Hood Moans video yesterday. Was it yesterday? I think you brought it out. I saw it this morning.
Possibly.
But I think you're right. João Felix, what was it? He cost 120 million quid, right? And he's had a bad injury. Is it a shoulder injury that had?
I think he was out. He was out for a lot of last season. He only played 24 games, but he was out. He wasn't dropped. He was out for injury. And again, I don't blame Levy. at all if you don't sign João Felix or Vlahovic last season or Diaz in January. They were never likely options. So I will never blame Levy for those, because they're not. They were never really going to happen. But would
you blame Levy if we don't get Jed Spence though?
I don't want him, so I might blame him. But I don't want him, so I might blame him if he draws that out. I won't be too worried. But apparently he's on holiday or something. I heard he's on holiday. That's why it's dragging on. He's going to come back. Yeah. And
I just think a lot of and I'm someone also. I see the news every day. Arsenal have basically got the deal done for Jesus. I don't give a shit about the Vieira fella. Coover, I know you were a big fan of him, and like before, literally 2-3 days before he was linked with Arsenal, you were talking about him before anyone else was, and it was an interesting take that you had on him. But he barely started for the team. Was it Porto? I forget where he even came from. He barely started.
Sorry, which one are you talking about?
Vieira for Arsenal.
Oh yeah, the only reason I know him is because following the under-21s championship, he had a great under-21s Euros.
Yeah.
That's basically, you remember the surname then because you think, oh, is that Patrick Vieira? So
yeah. Yeah, I just think that we're suddenly like Tottenham. Suddenly, we've been bereft with like amazing early signings. Everyone was super positive. Then we've had a 2-week period where we haven't signed anybody, and then you're starting to hear that Arsenal are doing bits and that Newcastle are doing bits. Manchester United still can't do anything, which is absolutely hilarious to me. But I think we all have to take a little breath and remember that Arsenal haven't signed any. They signed Vieira. They haven't signed Jesus yet. They might be like, the favourites to sign Rafinha, which we're going to talk about that as well. And in fact, we're going to talk about that right now. Like, let's presume, for what it's worth, boys, I'm trying to catch up. There's so many comments coming through, and I'm trying to do my best to catch up. I'm going to get through them all. But I am astonished. By the mood in the comments. Everybody is. There's so few people that are seeing this as a good light. There's a lot of people out here that have come. Maybe they've come over from Tottenham on tour, Brian. I don't know, but there's a lot of Levy out. A lot of Levy out in the comments today, which is fine. Welcome.
Do you know what it is as well? And obviously, my channel is very, very Levy out, and you know why. Everyone knows why, whether you like it or not. And listen, as I said at the beginning of this show, I really do believe he's going to spend it. I do, and like I said, I'm trying, and I am saying it, and I am giving Levy the benefit of the doubt. The only reason I'm giving the benefit of the doubt is Paratici and Conte. If them two weren't there and this situation was going, I would be outside the training ground, unable to stream right now. But because those two are there, I'm really, really, really hoping that this is it. And obviously, we've started off in the bright way, and I think it's now because people are, whether you agree they're spending money wisely or correctly. Look, we all watch people and have our opinions on a footballer. Will's up there now. You asked me about Brian Hill, me and Will. I mentioned it on We Are Tottenham TV yesterday, and the amount of people, Hill's going to be brilliant. He's brilliant. It's like literally, it's people have their different views on players. So people are starting to spend now. When you say we've got this money, when you say we've got this management team, and when we've heard things that we're going to invest in the club, we're going to bring the good days back to Tottenham, and now it's all going quiet. That's the problem. And yes, like Big Boss Man said, these deals take, and he's right, some big deals take a lot of time to do. I get all that. It's just we started off in such a fantastic way, and now it's just this silence. And the fact that we've had this money come in, yet we're miles off from Richarlison. We're miles off, whether you want them at the club or not. What you got to remember is, I said, what I think a lot of this money would cure is the amount of time we've lost out on players to 5 million. Yeah. I don't like when you look at it right now.
And you're distressed by the idea that
that's it. That's what I'm thinking. I don't want us to go buy a £90 million player, but what I thought I would love us to do it, but I understand we might not be the club to do that. But what I thought this money would embrace and stop is when you hear rumours that we're 5 million apart from Jed Spence.
Yeah, but 5 million apart. And here's the take on that. I appreciate this. A lot of people, and Tommy, I don't know, is your stance, are you generally kind of like, Will's called me out for saying skeptical versus cynical. I'm not sure it is a derogatory. So cynical just means you're disbelieving of it, and skeptical, I'm not sure there's that much of a difference between the two terms, but whatever, we can talk about semantics. Tommy, what's your take on that? Because I know Kuba's always been fairly Levy out. I know definitely Brian is. Are you? Where are you on the Levy sort of fence?
I try to take things by its merit. Every story that comes out, I try and take it by its merit. Everything that comes out. So I've got my criticism of Levy for sure. I've done a hell of a lot of streams with Brian, right? I've done a hell of a lot of streams with Brian, and when I first started, I didn't really get into Levy so much. It was just on the pitch for me. I was always looking at that side because I used to be a scout, so I don't really follow the outside of the club. But as a streamer, you get used to it, and you listen to people like Levy. Like Levy, Daigle. There is a comparison. There is only in visuals. But hold on. But and then when I heard these things and Daigle's been following him and had his criticism since the Yo deal, sacking Martin Yo, and that was sacrilege to me because I absolutely love Martin Yo as well. So I've heard both sides. I've heard both sides. I've heard both sides, and I went to the protest. I went to the original protest with a Levy out, but I was more angry with the ESL. With the ESL, that made me extremely angry because I feel like if you ruin the pyramid in England, then if we get into the drafts like America and that sort of deal, it's not good. It's not going to be good for anyone. So I went there. Nobody turned up. It was about 20, 30 people. About 10 of them were 17-year-olds. So and just singing Sissoko songs. It's a mixed bag for me. And I try and look at things on their merit. I couldn't care less about the money that's been released through this public statement. As you say, if it's a public statement, they had to release it. It's a public shares company, so they had to release it. Fair enough. But I don't really care. I care what happens on the pitch. It is early to be judging the proactivity of the club, and we have been relatively proactive. But let's face it, this is the biggest issue. At the end of last season, what were the two positions we needed more than anything? It was a centre-back and a right wing-back. So, Reggie and Cess are not great at left wing-back by all means. But they were probably, you'd probably trust those over Emerson Royal. and maybe Doherty. Doherty had a good month. So as you say, right wing back was a priority. Centre back is a priority. Davis has been great left centre back, and I think he'll be a good backup next season. But left centre back, middle centre back are needed. They're needed next. So we have to be proactive with those. If we keep waiting for Bastoni maybe to accept the deal, maybe to reject the deal, if we're just constantly waiting for that, we need to get things in check and look at other centre backs. Because as you said, you just threw loads of Sean. You just threw loads of names out there, loads of left-footed centre backs. Pau Torres, Gvardiol. There are a lot out there, so we need to focus on that. We need to focus on that, and then the judgment will come. When we start bringing those players, I'll be positive, and I'll be positive, as I say, because they're the players that we most need. Don't get me wrong, Perisic is a great signing, but Forster's a backup goalkeeper, and as good as Bissouma is, fantastic as Bissouma is, we've got Skip, we've got Bentancur, we've got Højbjerg, and I rate them all. So for me, we need a centre back and right wing back more than anything right now, and then I'll judge Levy in a positive manner for sure.
So can I just say one thing very, very quickly? And this is I just want to you brought a comment up that said
don't ask me to find it, mate, because there's literally thousands going through.
I know what the comment said. I can't remember who said it, but it said, "Brian, calm down. It's only 7 days since we signed Bissouma."
Yeah, I saw that one a minute ago.
And it's just like, well, it's not calm down. That 7 days since we signed Bissouma, it's another 7 days closer to pre-season training, when Conte said he wanted his players.
Yeah. He did say that, and to Tommy's point, Conte says it for a reason, because Tommy, you're right that his system is different to everybody else's system. So if you haven't played it before, you need time to learn it. 100%.
And that's the thing, and I keep saying, I don't know if that person was there again when we started, where I said I think we will spend the money. I think we will. I'll say it for the next 10 minutes if I have to. I think we will spend the money, but Conte has said, as Pochettino said, I want the bulk of my players in before pre-season. I want the bulk of my players before the tour of career. And all right, it's 7 days since we signed someone, but that's another 7 days closer to the target that Conte wanted. Like we said, we all looked at the beginning of this season, like Cooper alluded to at the beginning. A lot of our big away games against the big teams are away. If we can get a win against Chelsea, a win away at the Filth, this is because players are in early. Have got to Conte standard ready for the season. Not we've signed them just before Chelsea, then they're nowhere near the pace of the other teams that are part of it. That's the bit that's concerning me. That's why I'm getting stressed. Not that we won't spend the money, that we won't have spent it on the majority of what we need by the time our manager has said, we'll get a deadline. We'll go to work, or I haven't got a job at the moment. But when I was given a deadline, I didn't go, that's your deadline. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to override it and just do it a month later or a few weeks later.
Yeah.
I do it when my manager says, because that's what the manager wants.
Yep.
That's the part I'm stressed about.
It's fair enough.
As for Big Boss Man, because he seems...
Cooper, just give me 2 seconds, mate. Just give me 2 seconds. I want to make a quick statement. First of all, Val Taylor, mate, welcome. You're a new member, buddy. I know you joined that about 10 minutes ago. I'm just trying to get through all the comments. Mate, I absolutely love you and appreciate your support, man. I can't wait to meet you on the fan shows that start next week. Guys, there's 360 people on YouTube that are watching right now. It's a new record for the channel. It's absolutely amazing. There's also another 60 or 70 on other socials. Guys, I'm going to be honest. I really want to get everyone's opinions in here, and it's difficult for me to focus on what everyone's saying and also get everyone's comments up. If you really want your comment read out, if you have any questions for Tommy, for Brian, or for Kuva, if you have anything a point you really want to get off your mind, then the best way to do that is from a super chat. Of course, I'll get every super chat up, and I'm also going to try and get every member comments up. I'm going to try and get every comment up, but there's just so many flying through. It's pretty hard work. But I love you all. Kuva, sorry, man, you were just about to say something.
Yes, it's a couple of points that Big Boss Man's made. He's off on one today. He quite often comes out with some good stuff, but today he's flown off on things like, first of all, he's saying Eric Dyer is basically hinting at Eric Dyer is a better player than Sven Botman, because Sven Botman finished 10th, whereas Dyer got into the top 4 with Spurs this season. Therefore, he's better. If that's your reasoning, can you explain to me why Liverpool signed Virgil van Dijk from a Southampton team that finished 17th? If you can do that without people laughing at you, good luck.
Yeah.
Secondly, he's complaining that we're bigging up Newcastle for making a couple of signings. No, we were responding to the fact that people are saying Newcastle have done nothing so far. They made no movement. They have made movement. That's all.
Yeah. But I'm gonna defend Big Boss Man a little bit here because
Big Boss Man, I've got to say, Big Boss Man is the top guy. People know me and Big Boss Man had our issues, but we are cool. And he's a top guy.
Big Boss Man's one of the few guys in the comments that are like that is trying to. I'm interested because it's like 90% of people right now in the comments are. I'm going to change my definition because Will's shown that there is a difference in the dictionary definition that I wasn't aware of. I won't call them cynical. I call them skeptical, and that's fair enough. Well played, Will. But there's a lot of people in the comments that are skeptical, and Big Boss Man is one of the kind of few voices in here. There's a few others, but not many that are trying to stay positive. So I'm going to defend him a little bit on that one. There's a lot of people, though, commenting. Guys, keep the comments coming, and it's fantastic engagement. Tommy, you were about to say something, bro.
No. I was basically just agreeing with Kuva there. It wasn't the fact that we were comparing our signings to Newcastle's. It was literally, a few people put Newcastle haven't signed anyone. Well, they have, and they were decent signings. So, I think one person asked that. We know who that is. Yeah.
All right, guys. Let's move away from. So let's presume that there's money. Let's go with the argument of presumption that there's money being moved from the owners of the club into the coffers. Let's hope that there's good intentions with it. Now let's look at like the reality of where we're at with some of these players. And I want to actually, before I do that, I'd rather get an impartial opinion from you guys about not the players that we're linked with, because we're going to come to that. There's 20 tabs up that I'm going to go through. Before I do that, there's lots of tabs that are different varying newses, right? But I want to actually find out. Forget what the news is talking about. Forget where the news is saying that we're most likely to buy or sell a player. Where do you want us to spend? If there is a marquee signing lined up, if there's 80 million euros or 80 million quid lined up by Paratici for someone, whoever it is, whether we've heard of them or not, whether we're dropped, whether it's not happening or is happening, what position do you think you want to see Tottenham's marquee summer club record signing being? Whether at the moment it looks like it's a striker or a centre back. If you don't want it spent there, if you'd rather it be spent in left wing back to allow Perisic to play in any of the other positions he can, if you'd rather you see it in the right wing back spot or the cam role, that's fine. I'm going to come to Kuva first on this one, then Tommy, then Brian. Kuva, if you could have, and you're typing away, I'm not sure what you're typing to, but if Tottenham sign a world record or a club record transfer signing, what position do you want that to be in this summer?
Sorry, what? So I lost in what I was typing there.
What position? Like, forget, if right now the biggest names that we're talked about in terms of transfer fees, we haven't heard about Hakimi, right? So it will dream about that. I know Tommy thinks we've got to forget about that one. And that's
what would I look at being a successful transfer window, basically?
No. If there's one club marquee signing this summer, whether or not the news media are saying with Richarlison, Rafinha, Bastoni, that's fine, forwards or centre backs. But if you would rather it be in right wing back or left wing back or in the cam role, where would you rather Tottenham hold up a player's shirt that is going to be the world record signing? What position do you want that player to be in?
I'll name the player as well. Hakimi, right wing back. If we could do that, that would be a sensational signing. That
more
really
important,
would.
More important than Bastoni, more important than Richarlison. Yeah.
Because we need those wing back slots filled with quality players, and there's no greater quality player than Hakimi at the moment. There's some others that'd be very, very good signings, but when you're talking about smashing transfer records and best of the best, for me at the moment it's Hakimi. There's some others that are very much in the right ballpark though, and sorting the wing backs out is more important than anything else we do. Secondly, I'd say central defender, the left-sided one, preferably in the centre as well. Eric Dyer is replaceable. Him and Davis have both had cracking seasons, some improvements on what we've seen in the past for sure. But if we're really looking to win things, and we should be looking to win things under Conte, there's a lot of players even though they're fan favourites and even though they've had good seasons, they need to be replaced. You've got to be harsh. You can't make it big in football without being ruthless. Same as you can't in business. There are no nice billionaires in business. They're all ruthless. In one way or another, they're ruthless. We've got to do the same with football. It's a different kind of thing. You can admire Levy for his business acumen, which he has been good for us. He has provided brilliant ground and everything. But you can question his decisions when it comes to acquisition of staff and players. And a lot of us do question that heavily. This is a time to get it right because we have a world-class manager. We don't often have that luxury. Let's make it count. Let's back him properly by getting the players in early enough for him to mould a team before the season starts. So if we want a marquee signing, I'll go with Hakimi, right wing back. The most important thing to get his system working.
Yep. Listen, you're not alone, mate. There's so many people in the comments now answering that question for me and for you guys as well. There's a few people saying left side of centre back. Most people are saying right wing back. Tommy, I'm going to come to you first, second on this one, mate. Where would you, if you had to have one marquee signing, if it's the £100 million player that Tottenham need, a club record, whatever it is, who is it and what position do they play?
So tricky, so tricky because as Kuva said, right wing back is absolutely essential. It is essential. The thing is, outside Hakimi, who I don't think we have any chance in getting, by the way, there are not that many options. We seem to be obsessed with looking in England with the right wing back options, whether it be Lamptey, Spence, Aarons. Around the world, you've got Dumfries. Who, Inter are a selling club, so you could probably pick him up for 40 million, something like that. Hakimi is going to cost 70 million pounds. He was signed for 60 million pounds last season by PSG. And as good as Conte is, and as good as it is getting into the Champions League top four, you're not going to get Hakimi to your club. It's just
unless you pay 80 million, right?
And he's on like 250, 270 grand a week. Paris Saint-Germain don't need money. They do need money. They do need money. Maybe what for financial fair play?
FFP, I think more increasingly, I think that it's absolute nonsense. But they released their reports a few days ago, and they lost 280 million euros last season. They lost 320 the season before. A €500 million loss in 2 seasons. I think the reason why they haven't paid the 55 million or whatever it is that Inter want for Skriniar is because they can't do it. They run out of legitimacy in their ability to find money out of nowhere after just paying Mbappe, whatever it was, 50 million quid a year after tax or whatever that nonsense looked like. I think that Inter could be tempted. I genuinely do. I think that they and for me, you're right though, Tommy, it would take a club record signing to get it done. But if
and then how much money have you got? The problem is how much have you got left for the centre back and the left centre back, a forward? Because we need someone to replace. You could go and get Clement
Lenglet on loan, right? You could go and get Lenglet on loan for 2 years because Barcelona are desperate to get him off the wage bill. I agree. There's not
under Levy. I don't think you can spend more than £50 million on one player because you're not going to get more. You're not going to get the 42 windows, the 21 years. Has shown us that we're not spending £200 million, and that's what you're going to have to spend if you want another 2 centre backs. So I don't think we should be signing anyone for £80 million, regardless of how good they are, given the evidence we have with Levy. But for me, it is essential. Absolutely, it is essential. Right wing back. Bastoni would be fantastic. Bastoni really, really would be fantastic. I know Hakimi's got the link with Conte as well. Having spent 2 years there, winning the Scudetto, Hakimi's got that. Bastoni also has that. 80, I think we can probably still get him for £60 million. 50, £60 million, you'll still have money left. You still have a bit of a war chest to get a right wing back and maybe a backup striker. And that would make a little bit more sense for me. But it doesn't look like he wants to come. Bastoni. So you look again and, I've been looking at a lot of left centre-backs. Gvardiol is awesome as well.
Yeah, best in class. 20 years old. He's just, again, on that stat review that we did, it was either him and Lenglet, but generally speaking, it was Gvardiol.
He's
20 years
very
old,
unique.
Out of this world, right?
He's very unique. He's very unique because he's a great passer of the ball. Where Romero is ultra aggressive, they're both aggressive, don't get me wrong. But where Romero I suppose with the ball, he's not a great passer. I hear this about Romero. He's a great passer of the ball. No, he's a brave passer of the ball. He comes out of the back four and he'll give the ball to wingers and he'll give the ball to Kane. He's not afraid, Romero. He's a fighter and he does the same with the ball. So he's not a great passer of the ball, like a Toby Alderweireld, let's say. But Gvardiol is. He's a very good passer of the ball, very good on the ball, strong, you know. He's got that Croatian fight in him like Perisic. Be brilliant on that left side. You got left centre back Perisic. You got left wing back Perisic, left centre back Gvardiol, both Croatian, know each other pretty well. For me, it would be Bastoni or Gvardiol to get that in. And we do need a middle centre back. We absolutely do need a middle centre back. I'm not going to go into Eric Dyer. I'm not going to go fully into Eric Dyer. I've spent so much time doing that before. But there are cheap ones out there. There are relatively cheap ones out there. You've got Koulibaly, you've got De Vrij, you get for £10 million.
You get Bremer for 30.
Bremer as well.
Him as well. Yeah.
Bremer as well. But what I've seen of Gvardiol and Bastoni, they're the ones.
If you could get those two, if you could have a back three next year or in a couple of years' time of Bastoni, Bremer, and Romero, you're not conceding a fucking goal, are you? Like, you're just not.
Wow, yeah. But the thing is, there's no other right wing backs. Yeah. I'm struggling for other right wing backs outside of Hakimi. So I understand why people talk about Hakimi. I understand.
This man always talks about the Leicester City option. Leicester you got Pereira, you got
Ricardo Pereira.
I think it's too much bigged up on that. Thank you, Sean, but that's just an example of how easy it is to go and look at elsewhere for other names. It's just like Leicester happen to be overloaded with right wing backs at the moment. The point was really more that there's loads out there. You just have to look a little bit. That's not really our job, is it? I mean, the club should be doing that. I mean, we don't.
And you're going to have to adapt, aren't you? You're going to have to adapt with wing back. They're going to have to be right wingers, adapt into right wing back.
To Pereira or James Justin, if you could get them for 25, 30 million, Leicester City don't need to have 3 or 4.
Pereira's a little bit of a gamble because of his injury problems. It'll be a case of, can we recapture his form? So I wouldn't want to pay too much for him, that's for sure.
All right, Brian, I'm going to come to you now. Cheers for that, Tommy. Cheers for that, Kuba. Just quickly, I'm going to let you answer this super chat from Ben Ray or Ben Ray. I'm not sure how you say your name. Thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. Means the world. Appreciate that. And it's the best way, guys, if you do want to get your comment read out, if you have any points that you really want us to discuss, best way to do it. There's one coming slightly behind Ben's from Terence Beard. So bear with me, Terence. We'll come to you as well in a second. And I haven't forgotten either Eric Backers. We're going to come to him when we talk about the strikers for Richarlison in a moment's time. Brian, his answer to the question is right wing back. It has to be right wing back as the number one marquee sign. We need class players on both sides of the pitch to open the pitch right up. Thank you, Ben, for that. Brian, do you want to answer Ben? Do you agree with him? Do you think it's the most important, or where would you rather see us spend a marquee signing?
No. It's a full house to be right wing back. And the thing is, you got to look at it. When we say marquee, yes, we all want a Hakimi. Yes, we do. It's very unlikely. It could happen. I think it's very, very unlikely. But like Kuba and other people have said about Leicester, you look at what we did with Kyle Walker. We look at people like Liverpool that went and got Andy Robertson. Yes, he's a left wing back. There are dynamite right wing backs out. It doesn't have to be right. We're shelling 60, 70 million. If Paratici is doing this scouting or setting this up right, the right wing back is out there, and it's Conte analysing whether he's got all the attributes that he needs to fit into his system. You look at, again, I'm going to do another. When Schmeichel left Manchester United, look how many goalkeepers they had to go through. Taibbi, Bosnich, the list goes on until, what's the one that went to Everton? Tim Howard, until they got to Van der Sar. And then the next time they went and bought Van der Sar, they did their scouting right and brought in De Gea. They made sure that they took the time to get the right goalkeeper in that will be able to do the job for them. We have to do this because since Kyle Walker's gone, we have just gone degrade every single time that we've bought a right wing back. I don't care how much the right wing back costs. Don't get me wrong, I would love it to be Hakimi. I would absolutely love it to be him. I don't think Jed Spence is the answer. I think Jed Spence could be the answer after the one we like a Dumfries, and then Spence maybe go out on a loan or understudy and then takes over in time. But we have to get this right wing back sorted. We desperately know how badly we need one. And this time it can't be wrong. We can't go through, especially with how integral this position is to Antonio Conte. We cannot afford to get this one wrong. I don't care where else we upgrade or what we do. If we don't sort that out, a huge part of Conte's game is lacking. So that has to be solved immediately. So the left with Perisic, the right with whoever it may be, is the core of his creativity and bombing up and down the wing. So for me, hands down, right wing back. And Pat has just put in, mate, Ben Godfrey, who was at Norwich and now at Everton, he is a terrific defender. Struggling Everton. We were going for him before he went to Norwich, but I think we know what happened there. But I would take him. Not saying he's the answer, but up and developing, I'll take him over Spence.
Ben Godfrey.
I'll take him over Spence.
Yeah.
I'll take him over Spence all day long.
You could make the argument that anybody that's standing out in such a struggling Everton team has actually got some genuine quality.
Yeah, and this guy has. So I would happily take a Ben Godfrey, but for me, it's the right wing back without a doubt.
Ben Godfrey's more. He's a midfielder, isn't he? He's the young.
No,
he's
he's basically centre, but he played a lot on the right.
Who am I thinking of? Gordon. I'm thinking of Gordon.
Yeah, Gordon's a midfielder, the Scottish dude.
He's
sorry, no, he's not Scottish dude. He's a homegrown guy. He's from Liverpool. My bad. But
Gordon's the man
Godfrey played in a back four on the right for Everton quite a bit last season, but I think he has the capabilities because he does get forward a lot to maybe play in that right wing back position. Not like an Emerson who struggled to play the right wing back. I think Ben Godfrey has all the attributes to maybe do it. But getting back to it, listen, we can all say, "Oh, I like this player." I like this player.
Yeah.
I think you can see from the comments. That the number one position is completely without a doubt right wing back.
Right wing back. Yeah.
Sean.
Oh. Ladies and gentlemen, there was someone else I invited to the show before it started, and he's decided to pop on. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. My man is from Bobspur TV. His name's Bobspur. How you doing, Bobspur?
All good. Hello.
How are you, my friend?
What's up, brother?
All good, mate. All good. Very well. Enjoying the show.
I'll come to you first, man, on this one then, because I want to move on to. We're talking about right now. The question is, who is the position if you were in charge, or if money was no object, or whatever? Where would you want to go and see the marquee signing? And I want you to round this one up. Everyone so far has agreed that right wing back is the most likely. I'll come to you, and then we're going to talk about what the media is saying is the most likely way we're going to spend it. But before we get there, what are your thoughts on where you'd like to see it spent?
Well, we've only got one, in my opinion, we've only got one good wing back at the club at the moment. And that's Perisic, 33-year-old. So for me, wing backs all the way. Right wing back, I hear the name Hakimi. It's Kleenex rating number 10 for me. He's the one player I really need one in. But yeah, it's got to be wing backs, man. For me, when you consider that our creativity, I think we all agree our creativity is going to come through the wing back position. So we need to improve on that. Having an Emerson, Doherty, a Sessegnon, Reguilón does seem look like is definitely going. But just having them as an option and a Perisic, yeah, for me, it's 100% either wing backs, right wing backs more importantly, but wing back position for me has to be the next two signings.
Yeah, I agree. 1,000,000% I agree. I've been saying it on my channel now for a couple of weeks. All of the news, and we're going to transition into this now, and I'll come to Tommy first on this one, and we're going to reverse the order. But all of the news right now is not about, if anything, the Jed Spence is the only right wing back that we're really linked with. And if there's truth to the concept that Daniel Levy was asked to chaperone that deal and get it done, and it looks like that they've walked away from negotiations because they're not willing to pay the difference between the two asking prices. And the one thing I will say on it just quickly is, whilst I understand the argument of nickeling and diming over 5 million quid, I understand it. I get it. But if you're dealing with a player that's 50 million quid and you're nickeling and diming over 5 million, that's 10% difference in valuation. But if you're nickeling and diming over 5 million quid when Tottenham value Jed Spence at 10 million and Middlesbrough value him at 15, that's a 50% differential. Now, that is a big deal it might not seem like a big deal, but it is a big deal when the valuation difference. It's like if you're trying to buy a house and you think the house is worth $1 million.
It's a big deal for Middlesbrough, though. It's a big deal for Middlesbrough because £20 million is a lot of money for them. It's not a lot of money for us, £5 million.
But no, I agree with that. But it's still £5 million. Like it's still like I know we're dealing in like tens of millions here. So we have this kind of concept. Oh, it's just a couple of concerts or it's a couple of match day revenues. But it's also a punt, right? No, I think the fact that he's valued at 10 or 15 million quid means that everybody at Club Tottenham Hotspur recognises that Jed Spence is a punt, because surely we're not the only people, the community's not the only people that realise that he hasn't played at Premiership level, even though the 2 times he's played against Premiership level teams he's done very well. It's still a punt. So I just think it's worth pointing out. For me, there's a difference between nickeling and diming 5 million on a £100 million transfer than there is when it's a £10 million transfer. Yeah, and there's a difference there. But either way, that does seem like it's someone that's struggling. So we're going to move on to where does the media think, if there is 100 million quid, if there is this new reason why 100 million quid tranche has been withdrawn, we might be able to assume that there's a deal that's going to come. And as far as the media go, the transfers that Tottenham are closest to getting done are either in the centre-back role or in the striker role. And we're going to deal first of all with the strikers, right? We're going to come back to Eric Backer's point. He's saying Chelsea apparently, and thank you for the super chat, my man. I really appreciate you. It was a long time ago now, but we're getting around to it. Chelsea apparently a favourite for Richarlison. Arsenal apparently favourite for Gabriel Jesus. Tommy, do you see us spending, if there is a big tranche of money, do you see us, bearing in mind as well, Paratici's over in Italy trying to get things done over there, trying to get some of the oil in the cogs. Where do you see us spending money in the striker role? Are you more interested in Anthony, Richarlison? Are you more interested in Jesus, Sterling, Rafinha? Where do you want us to spend Martinez, yeah? Okay.
He's my man. Look, Martinez is my man, but it's like a pipe dream as well. It is a pipe dream. Like Hakimi, it's a pipe dream. With Martinez, it's definitely my heart over my head. I've said it a few times because I just think the guy he's incredible. He's Luis Suarez version 2 for me, Martinez. But it's certainly we can't spend that money on a forward, even though he can play in all 3 positions. And I think this is what we're targeting. This is why I like the Richarlison rumours, the Jesus rumours, because they can play all along the front line. The Rafinha one doesn't make sense to me because he's a right winger. He's a right winger who, Kulusevski, if it was in January, I was all for it because we were desperate for a right winger in January. We got Kulu in, absolutely magnificent. So it's not somewhere we really need we don't need an out-and-out right winger. So we need somebody that can play in all the positions. So for me, out of those, I'd say Richarlison. Because it wouldn't take too much of the budget. £51 million is reported. He'll certainly accept the contract. Yeah, I mean, to work with Conte, to play in the Champions League, it makes a lot of sense, and that's why I always try and look at things that make sense in the transfer window, because it's hard with all the the smoke and mirrors. But it certainly makes a great deal of sense to me if we were to get Richarlison. Now he would have to fight to get in. But he looks like a fighter on the pitch. He is a fighter on the pitch. So he'll believe he can certainly get in front of Kulu. Kane and Son, it's always going to be tricky to get in front of Kane and Son, but you're going to get a lot of game time. Both of them are going to get injured probably at some point, and you're going to have to rotate the squad. So Richarlison will find plenty of game time. So he would be my man. If you're looking at a forward that can play all along the front 3, I'd be taking Richarlison, to be honest.
Interesting. I'm going to come up with this one right now. According to TBR Football, Fabrizio Romano has suggested that Tottenham and Everton could pull off the Richarlison Winks swap deal. It's a great segue, Tommy. I appreciate that one. Romano has said in a tweet, and I can't even get it. I can't even find it. Where does it say it? He said it's still early in the conversation. I would say Richarlison is an opportunity for Tottenham, but at the moment I'm not offering what Everton want. We have to keep an eye on a potential swap deal because there are players who could be interesting for Everton, like Winks. Winks is a player they are discussing in a separate deal, but could become an opportunity for Everton in case they will decide to discuss a potential swap deal for Richarlison. So there are many things to discuss between the 2 clubs. They have a very good relationship. There you go. Brian, I'll come to you on this one, mate, quickly.
Yeah.
Well, not quickly. Take as long as you want, as always. And everybody else as well. Richarlison, Tottenham, Everton. It's not often that you could hear that there's a very good relationship with Tottenham and any other club, right? Daniel Levy's done his he's done his work on most clubs, but apparently Everton and Spurs have got a good thing going on. What do you think? Richarlison, to Tommy's point, is Richarlison more likely because we can get rid of Winks?
Yeah, I think it's. I've now got a newfound respect for Frank Lampard because he just takes our players that we don't want. So I don't think it's the relationship that he's. I think Frank Lampard has just got. Let's take all these Tottenham players. Someone put in the comments as well. Again, I can't remember who said it. Said, do you know what? It's by the 30th of June that Everton need to get some of their accounts in order. So
yeah, their financial year. Their financial year finishes on the 30th of June. They need to get themselves regulated.
Exactly. So you'd think if a deal is going to go through this, they'd want to rush that through like this week. So you think there would be a bit of onus on it this week. And if it doesn't get announced this week, then obviously it may be a bit harder because they may have other avenues they're going down. I was dedicated for Richarlison, being next to Simeon for a week and brainwashing me, and Bob Spurs been helping with that as well.
Twisted my rubber arm all fucking.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone for him, but obviously I've got Danny Kiriakou, who's obsessed, and I do mean obsessed with Rafinha.
Yeah.
I think if you look at them, I would take either of them at Spurs. If you look at what we've got,
who do you think we need more though? Do you think we need Richarlison more or Rafinha more?
This is the hard one, and I keep toing and throwing. I have been going on Richarlison. I have been because of the two people I mentioned, and I look at it and I think we need someone that's really like the way that Everton fans have been reacting on Twitter and people that I know support Everton that have been waxing lyrical. But obviously their standard players aren't the Tottenham Hotspur standard of players, but it's his work rate, his passion, his drive, his commitment, and you got to remember. A lot of the shithousery that he does and falls over, and I hate it when big guys like Didier Drogba used to go, you like flick him and he goes fucking rolling around the ground.
Yeah.
But I keep thinking to myself, do you know what? Maybe that was what Everton wanted him to do because they were such a direct football team. Maybe when they were so under pressure, go down and let's just kill, like what we saw Wolves doing with us and other teams. He may not do that at Tottenham Hotspur because he may not need to. And I think I'm still just shading on Richarlison, but don't get me wrong. If we brought in Rafinha instead of him, I will be just as happy that he comes in. But I think I'm just edging Richarlison.
Okay, Kuva, I appreciate that, Brian. Kuva, is Richarlison? I wasn't a massive fan of Richarlison. I wasn't certainly not at that price tag. But Bob Spur has twisted my arm a little bit. I like the way you described the shithousery and the ability to win free kicks that other people benefit from in their stats that are not reflected in Richarlison's. He did make a great point last week when he came on the channel, and I've started to loosen up a little bit on it, especially if Winks goes the other way. Especially if Richarlison goes, if Winks goes the other way. Plus, also, mate, I want to, my take on it is that I don't know, Rafinha is just a better version of Lucas Moura, and Lucas Moura's come out this week saying that he's gonna run down his contract at Tottenham. He's still got a year to go, and then he wants to fuck off and go back to Brazil and get a final payday somewhere else, and that's fine with me. I got no problem with Lucas Moura anyway. I think he's a good player to have in the squad team. Kuba, over to you. What do you think, mate? Richarlison, Rafinha, or someone else? Who do you want to see in the centre forward solution?
Well, centre forward, you'd rule out Rafinha straight away. He's just not a powerful player.
The forward.
Yeah. I was always swaying towards Richarlison because I think he can fill the Harry Kane role. And to me, that's the vital bit of the versatility of the forward. If he can offer that strength and hold-up play. Because at the moment, we don't really have an obvious candidate about that. Or so I thought until I started thinking about it some more. We could get in Rafinha, and that would actually free up Kulusevski to cover those roles as well. He could play up front. He has got the strength to hold the ball up. He could even drop in at right wing back when needed, as could Rafinha. It's actually a bit more versatile than I first thought it was. And at the end of the day, I'm swaying towards Rafinha because I see Richarlison as a limited skill set, but it's really useful for the team. But Rafinha, there's a wow factor to him. And at the end of the day, I am fickle as can be as a fan.
Say it, bro. Say it.
Fickle as fuck. I want to see flair. I want to see excitement. I want to see brilliant bits of dribbling that take my breath away. Rafinha offers that in bucket loads. He's an exciting player for me, and I'll go for that. There's a couple of other points to come to. Somebody said in the chat about if we tend to jump on the bandwagons. Like a few weeks ago, nobody was talking about Hakimi. Then he gets mentioned. Everybody's on the bandwagon. I think, well, surely that's natural. If you've logically ruled out a player in your own mind, and then he does start coming into conversations, and you think, oh, didn't realise he was available. Of course, I'd like him. It's a natural progression. I've got no problem with that. It's not like complete bandwagon. There's a rationality to it. Tommy, I will take up on this one point when you say we're not Hakimi. That's like out of the question. Not getting them. Ruling players out straight away. Why? Why do we have to do that? If someone becomes available or they're unhappy at a club, what's stopping us putting a big bid in? What? Just look at history. Jurgen Klinsmann. Nobody in a million years saw us signing him. He walks in through the door. Back in the late 70s, we're a club that had only just been relegated and come back up into the first division. We signed Ozzy Ardiles, a World Cup winner. Nobody.
His wages the reason though, Kuba.
But everybody at the time, well, it doesn't matter. His wages aren't that much, are
well,
they?
we've just the thing is, we've just talked about Hakimi for £70 million. We could talk about Rafinha for £70 million. We're not going to get a left centre back for less than £50 million. So that's £190 million.
Yeah.
Without another centre back and without an out and out forward. You're saying Kulusevski could play up front. Well, yeah, he could play up front, but it's still a risk going into that. So you sign Rafinha, you look at Kulusevski as he could play up front. You sign Hakimi, £140 million dropped. And as I said, all the left centre-backs we're linked with, we're not linked with any left centre-backs that are going to cost £20 million. They're 30, 40, 50 million pounds plus.
140 million drop.
So what I'm coming from is I'm trying to keep it real. I'm trying to make it as real as possible.
I hear,
I don't see Levy. I know it's wishful. I know we can say. I think it's you're going into Neverland a little bit when you're saying Hakimi, Rafinha, because it's not going to happen.
Not all of them.
We're not spending 190 million pounds and we still need 2 positions left.
You could get Hakimi. But then if you could get Hakimi, you've got to settle for a little bit less in the forward line, or you've got to go and get Lenglet on loan, or you could go and get Kostic and Ndicka for 60 million combined.
Well, Ndicka's good because his contract expires next season, so you can get him potentially for 20-30 million pounds, but he's the cheapest option of the lot.
You could probably go to Frankfurt and get Kostic and Ndicka for a double swoop for 65 million. But if you do that, then you solve 2 positions, but that probably means you can't get Hakimi, and it definitely means you couldn't get Hakimi and Richarlison, right? It's not a bottomless pit, so it's like none
of this is taken into consideration, though. Selling Lucas Moura, selling Dennis Bergwijn, selling Harry Winks, recoup some of the money, get 50 million back on it. Suddenly, your 200 million outlay goes down to equivalent of 150 million. We've just taken 100 million out. It's there.
Yeah. Well, as long as you sell them, and I don't think Lucas Moura.
No, we've got Everton for that. Trash for cash. Bloody love them.
All right.
It'd be nice to be able to throw Winks. It'd be nice to be able to throw Winks and Bergwijn in to the Richarlison deal, and I don't know, pay £10 million plus Bergwijn and Winks. That'd be wonderful. And Everton could set up next season with Winks and Dele Alli in centre midfield, Bergwijn left, and Andros Townsend right. All ex-Spurs. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
That'd be. Here we go. Some more names mentioned. Lo Celso, Rodon, Sanchez, and all expendable as well.
Kuba, you just summed it up, mate. You just summed it up. We've had cash for gold, and now we're doing trash for cash. That's just the best. That's just the best. That's the best.
And we have to sign Romero this summer for £40 million. So we're getting closer to 250, £250 million. We're getting closer to £250 million.
Yeah, true.
But then again, take. I mean, we're not
obviously all of those. Yeah, all of those transfers are going to be just
a cursory glance. Though you look at players come in, players going out, and then you weigh up the value of their wages and the fact that we get a bit of transfer value back in on them. Put it all together, spread it out over the next few years, payments. I think it's doable.
Guys, I'm going to come to Hotspur now to handle this super chat for me. It's been a long overdue, Terence. I'm so sorry, man, but we're waiting for the right time to bring it in, and now is the time. Before I get there, just quickly, there is 425 people watching on YouTube. Absolute insane numbers. New record for the channel. Another 70 on other socials as well. So we're nearly pushing 500, which is just mental. But only 140 of you have hit the like button. Guys, I'm taking a massive risk here, because I know the structure of the comments is full of people that are leaving out. But I'm going to say, you haven't got to hit the like button, but I would ask you to hit one of the like or the dislike button. Please show whichever way you fancy on the content so far. I hope that I'm not going to wake up tomorrow and see 100 dislikes, but if you've enjoyed the content, please pick one. Ideally, the like button. It would mean the world to me, because it means the world to the algorithm, and it helps me continue to expose this group of people that have joined us today to more and more people going forward. Please hit the like button. Terence Beard Bobspur is saying Spurs fan wanted Conte backed, and they say in Conte we trust, but at the drop of a hat they get mad when they move for a player they don't like. Conte wants Richarlison.
I have to say, just for Bob Odds, that is one of the best super chats I've ever seen. Seriously,
it's a fantastic super chat. Yeah, and I've been waiting for the right time to bring it in, and I hope Terence hasn't disappeared whilst waiting for it. I always bring them up. Just need to find the right slot in the show. Thank you so much for it, Terence. It means the world for your support. Bosper, how do you feel about Terence? And then once you've said that about, I know how you feel about Richarlison, but then go on to where you want to go with the centre forward stuff.
First of all, mate, you'll be pleased to know I always hit the dislike on your show.
You're that guy, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm the guy. Big up, Terence. Great question. Great statement. First of all, you know my thoughts on how much we spend on a player. That's Levy's job. That's Paratici's job. Nothing to do with me. All I want to see is class players brought in. Who are we to judge? We can spend X amount on one position and not X amount. If there is a worry, then leave it to Paratici and ENIC. If we spend £75 million on a Richarlison, I don't give a shit if it's too much. What's it to do with me? If the club, who are well run by ENIC, feel it's good enough to spend £75 million on Richarlison, then let them do it. There's many people out there who think he's a shrewd businessman. He's not going to be spending the money willy-nilly on a player when they don't think they're worth it. With regards to Conte wants Richarlison, in my opinion, I agree with that. A lot of people, and I'm a big Bergwijn fan. Brian knows what my feeling. Even Danny Kiriakou in the chat, who gets his nipples erect every time we speak about Rafinha, knows what I feel about Bergwijn. But Bergwijn wasn't getting the game time under Conte. He preferred Lucas, because what does Lucas do more than Bergwijn? Work rate, a bit more. I'd say ability-wise, Bergwijn's a better footballer, but work rate. I don't rate Lucas, by the way, but work rate and a bit more to the team, a bit more fight, that comes from Lucas. That's why Richarlison, in my opinion, is more of a Conte footballer than a Rafinha. Another reason, he is versatile. Danny likes to poo-poo on that. Say it's irrelevant. No, it's not. It's totally relevant, especially when we've got class people up front like a Sonny, a Kane, and a Decky. If one of them were to go down, I'll be more comfortable seeing a Richarlison come on than a Lucas or a Bergwijn. It's not me that I don't want Rafinha in. Hey, in an ideal world, let's get both in. But if it was a choice, I'd be more comfortable seeing a Richarlison come on instead of a Lucas and a Bergwijn, and my preference is Richarlison over Rafinha. The free kicks you mentioned earlier, he'd get the penalties, he'd get the shithousery he'd bring to the team, which only Romero, to an extent, is bringing in. He has got a bit of a skill set. He's looked upon greatly in the Brazil national squad. And let's be honest, the versatility is a big thing, but who's going to get you more goals? Forget the stats. You're always going to have more chances in a Bielsa side than a side that was under Rafa Bettina, fucking hell, Rafa, and a Lampard, whose first choice was to was to defend, although they couldn't defend. So,
yeah.
like I say, he's got a bit more to
I'm
his
not, I'm,
game.
not, I'm not even sure if Rafinha's stats are that fucking brilliant. Like,
No, they're not great.
Neither of them are great.
Like I say, for me,
Richarlison's not good. Like I've always said, Emmanuel Dennis has got better stats than both of them. And
mate, for me, it's
that's
all
why
about
stats are unreliable. That's why stats are
Don't go
unreliable
all that,
in a
don't
lot
go
of
all-
ways.
It's all about opinions, isn't it? In my opinion, if you don't want Richarlison, you're wrong.
All right. Okay. Anyone want to come back on that? Well, it sounds like everybody here is like, yeah, I'll take Richarlison, but not Rafinha. Apart from,
I just want to say, I'm a massive Rafinha fan. I'm a massive Rafinha fan. Watching him play, you'd pay the entrance fee alone to watch the Rafinhas, the Maximins. Imagine Maximin on the left, Rafinha. I love watching those players. Don't get me wrong, but overall, I just feel like for the squad and for the overall summer transfer budget, I think it would be smart to get Richarlison.
All right. Okay, let me move on then, boys and girls. Let's move on to. I'm gonna get my skin up this one because I've been reading this stuff out without actually showing you what I'm looking at, and that's never enjoyable. Here we go. Spurs Web has dropped a report saying Bremer will discuss personal terms with clubs after his holiday, just like every fucking other player. He likes Spurs and Inter. Torino centre-back, according to at least Calcio Mercato, and I don't know what. Listen, I'm not a fan of even giving people tears, but Calcio Mercato seem to get around quite a lot. They seem to link Tottenham with every single player under God's green earth. But they say Gleison Bremer will begin negotiating personal terms with interested clubs when he returns from his holiday in Brazil. According to Calcio Mercato, Bremer is thought to be one of the central defenders on Antonio Conte's transfer shortlist this summer, as he looks to bring in a left-sided central defender, according to Alan Gold. The Brazilian said last week that he expects to leave Torino this summer and admitted that he is keen to test himself in the Champions League. Sports media reported last week that Inter Milan have already held talks with Torino over a deal for a centre-back, but have not been able to agree on a fee. The report added that Spurs are about to step up their interest in 25-year-old, who is said to be valued by Torino in the region of about £30 million. Boys, I'm going to come to Kuva first on this one, and I'm going to go clockwise round the house. Bremer, 30 million. Look, if you can't get Bastoni done, if you can't get Gvardiol done, I think those people are everyone's first choice, obviously, in the left-sided centre-back role. But to Tommy's point earlier, it's not like left centre-back is like Ben Davies had such a terrible season and Dyer was so brilliant. They were both good. And you could argue that it's not that bad it's not that bad next season if we've got Davies, Bremer and Romero rather than Bastoni, Dyer and Romero. And if you can get Bremer done for 30, to me, I've made my comment before. I did a post about this. Inter Milan are so pivotal for everything that goes on with so many transfer clubs. Kuva, is Bremer worthy of the £30 million bid?
Before we get on to the player himself, I'm just going to call out the quality of the article, because what bullshit. Are they really saying a player has got no preference between playing in two different foreign leagues and he hasn't got a preferred lifestyle choice out of the two? Really?
Well, yeah, I mean, all they're doing basically is collating three other different reports. They're collating let's look at it again, right? They've collated Sports Media Set, they've collated Football London and Calcio Mercato. So this is just Spurs
are about to step up their interest. What does that mean?
It means that they have a bracing themselves for an impact, like Leeds with Rafinha, as Bob will testify to.
Yes, it's just bullshit words at the moment. Put in a bid. As soon as they start actually putting in a bid, that's the news report. Until then, it's just wild speculation.
They're bracing themselves.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I love the terminology. Would you take Bremer? Would you take Bremer?
Oh yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, I'd replace Dyer with Bremer and then bring in a Bastoni type player. I think the best value there would be in Endicott, because he's very much in the Bastoni mould. And he'd be a hell of a lot cheaper. And if Bastoni doesn't want to leave Italy, which I can well believe, because Italian players do tend to have a very much a penchant for staying in their own country, then yeah, bring Bremer in. It's no brainer for me. He's a monster, and let's make it a habit of signing the Italian Defender of the Year every season. I think that's a very good habit to get into.
Yep. Yeah.
I've got to throw in my joke about Bremer as well. The bloke's built so well stacked, you have to get an Uber just to get round him.
Nice. I haven't heard that before. How many times have you dropped that in the last few days? Is it? Yeah. Okay. But fair enough. It's still good enough.
100.
Tommy, listen, Paratici's over in Italy right now, right? Maybe that's the reason why he asked Daniel Levy. Who knows whether Daniel Levy said to Paratici, listen, mate, you worry about what you're doing in Italy. I'm going to handle Jed Spence, and it's all gone tits up. Or maybe Paratici said to Levy, like, can you handle this one, but don't pay over 12 million because we don't want him that much. I'm going to be over in Italy doing some bits, and maybe the bits he's doing, given the 100 million tranche is for a defender. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's for a Berardi. Maybe it's for one of the other players we're going to talk about in a moment. But do you think that it could be for a defender? And if so, is Bremer the boy for you? You're on mute, buddy.
Let me get out of that. Well, I wasn't aware of this the other day. Now you mentioned Bremer,
mute,
but this. Am I?
Hey, gotcha!
Oh, you got me. Killed me there. I thought I was gonna restart it up then, but no. Bremer, I found out a few days ago that he had a release fee. You could trigger his fee with a £25 million bid. That's his release fee, which is fantastic business. That is absolutely magnificent business. As you say, he's built like a brick shithouse. And in the him as your middle centre back, then going big on a left centre back would be absolutely fantastic. I mean, Paratici going to Italy. I mean, he's Italian. You know, where's he going to go? Where's he going to go for his holidays? So I'm not too sure about that. But look, we're going to be looking at a lot of Italian players. I mean, look at the last 5-6 signings we make: Romero, Kulusevski, Bentancur, all from the Serie A. And the best centre backs we're linked with are from the Serie A, so it makes a lot of sense. You've also got Singo out there. You've got Marley, the right wing backs. Marley's Atalanta, so that's a good sign, isn't it? Because the Atalanta players come over and do fantastically well. Mailer is one. He's got 1 assist and 1 goal. That's what I'm saying. It's a struggle to get right wing backs. But no, Bremer makes a lot of sense. And for that £25 million release fee, that's incredible. That's incredibly cheap.
And would you take him? Let me ask this: would you take Bremer for 25 if it cost 25 million and Clement Lenglet on loan? Would you do that if it meant that we could go and get Richarlison done, or I don't know, Dumfries? Let's be realistic. Maybe Hakimi isn't in the world of possibility. Would you be happy with Bremer and Lenglet?
No, I want a big time left centre back.
Would you go and get Ndicka and Kostic for 60 bar? Stick that one down.
I don't know I don't watch a lot of Bundesliga. I don't watch a great deal of Bundesliga, so I don't really know Ndicka so much. But there are so many left. Gvardiol's my man. As I said, Gvardiol, Bastoni are my men. So if you get Bremer for £25 million, you could get Gvardiol for 50, and then right wing backs tricky.
I think Gvardiol will cost like
even more.
He's 20, double that. I think he's got a 5-year contract. He's 20 years old. He plays for Leipzig. Leipzig don't even need money. They've always got money coming in because they're a club that just seems to recuperate money every couple of months. I think that Gvardiol would be I genuinely think Gvardiol is going nowhere this year, and that Leipzig would have the ambitions to sell him for 140 million or something like that next summer.
Will be tricky, but there's another boy as well who's absolutely outstanding. Left-footed centre back, Badiashile, Benoit Badiashile. That boy is serious.
He's a unit, isn't he?
He's a unit as well. Yeah,
Never
he's a big boy.
He's
France's under-21s captain, and it's almost impossible to get into the French team as a centre back. As you say, Lenglet, Upamenko, Konate, Kitmembe, Varane. France produce extremely good centre backs, and Badiashile is one of them. Left-footed. I think he's had like 80 games, and he's just turned 21 or something. Had a few injuries last year.
Is it Monaco? Is he Monaco?
Good age.
So young. And as Bob said, big boy for that age. So he had a few injury problems last season, but Monaco are a big club. A big club, and he'll cost a fee definitely. But Monaco.
He reminds me of Desailly. I don't know about you. There's a bit of Desailly.
Marcel Desailly. Oh, that's a name. Oh, Marcel Desailly. Lillian,
Wow.
Thuram. Yeah, you could put Thuram in there as well because Thuram was a unit as well, and he's one of my favourite ever centre backs. So yeah, you can put him in that bracket. But he's France under 21's captain. He's had like 20 games. He's a big boy, and he's another one we should be looking at. Like going into the summer, a lot of us, myself included, were like, there can't be that many left-footed centre backs. But how many are we talking about?
There's loads.
I mean, Pau Torres, Gvardiol,
But
Bastoni.
how many of them play in the back three though?
Well, yeah, it's
a lot.
tricky.
A lot of them are left-footed, play on the left of a 4 or a 2, whatever you want to call it, in the centre back role. I'm not sure how many of them are back three. There's not that many teams that play with the back three. You know, it's like like 10% of football clubs play with the back three. You know,
so most players you bring in are going to have to adapt anyway. This is why we said earlier, to get a right wing back in, you probably need to either go for a right winger or a right back, and then you scout them and hope they can adapt. I mean, Conte done it brilliantly with Moses, didn't he? Right winger, turned him into a right wing back at Chelsea, and he turned out fantastically. So in a lot of ways, I think the scouting process with right wing back will be, he's a right back, he's a right mid, right winger, I should say, or right back. Can he make that adaptation? And the same with the centre backs, but may struggle in a free. And I think that's one of the reasons you mentioned it earlier. Botman went to Newcastle. I'm not sure he could adapt to a free. He's a little bit tall and he's quite slow. Unless it was middle centre back, it might be tricky. But there are some big names out there. And as you say, Gvardiol, if he's, I don't know, you're putting him in the same bracket as Van Dijk or Maguire, 70, 80 million pounds.
Yeah,
then we have to leave that alone. We have to leave that alone. But there still are cheaper options to go with.
I could be wrong. Leipzig might.
I hope you're wrong. I hope you're wrong because he's insane. He's absolutely.
He's my absolute number one choice. Like 100%. He's the best. He's the best in class. He's 20 years old. You could have him for the next 8 years or whatever, and he'd just be an absolute rocket. But I just don't think it's. I just don't think Leipzig need to sell him now. And I think that they've got enough time on their side where they could let him adapt let him just develop for one more year, and then next season he would be the next, world's best centre back. So I'd love it. I just don't see it happening. Brian, mate, over to you, bro. Where do you want to take the left-sided, or not just the left-sided centre back? Take the centre back in general. Talk wherever you want to go. Are you happy with wing back? Are you happy with getting Lenglet on loan, or maybe not? Maybe you want to go and see us spend some money there. What do you want to see it happen?
So first thing I'm going to start with is Bremer. Would I love him? Yes. Is he coming to Tottenham? Absolutely not. He's going to Inter. He is going to Inter. It's as much, as much as I would love him at Spurs. I think it's done deal. He's going to Inter. It was either going to be us, Bastoni, or Skriniar, PSG, and he is going there. I think it's too late. It's not going to happen. And I'm going to be with Will on this one. And I didn't know a lot about him, but I'm not saying for here. But I really, if we don't get a Bastoni, I want to see an Ndika. I think he can be terrific at Tottenham. And as I've said as well, if we look at it, when we had Davinson Sanchez come in, but you had Toby and Jan either side of him, that defence was as solid as a rock. I think it's so important we find a partner for Romero. The centre-back one, yes, we do need to upgrade on Dyer, but I don't think it's as important as getting this left centre-back sorted. If we can get left centre-back and right centre-back sorted, then we can look for the centre-back we really, really want. Bremer's not going to come. And Ndika really, really excites me. And yeah, I would go for him with Bastoni, which looks like it ain't happening. And that's the one I really wanted. I was on Wheel and I was saying, this is the one. But this week they brought up another story, and I just think it's going to be too hard to get over the line. So the main aim for me out of the two other centre-back positions is sort out that left centre-back. And if it's not to be Bastoni, I'm going with Will Stewart all day, and I'm saying Ndika. Sean? Okay. So, Bob, I guess it's your turn. Oh, there he is.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Had to go for a wee. Bob, sir.
Yeah, as long as we get someone who's quality. I don't very often agree with Scotland, but De Vrij for me. I think what we need is a bit of experience. Because our left side of defence, i.e. the left side of defence and the left wing back, potentially going to be two new players in Perisic and a defender. Bastoni obviously is class, very unlikely. Bremer would be through the middle, doesn't have the he probably has the ability to play down the left side of defence. And this thing about the left-sided defender has to be left-footed. I don't know, man. If you're good enough, you'll play with either foot. I really do believe that. Not every good left-sided defender in European football, world football, is left-footed. So Bremer has got the chance of fitting into three. But for me, I think experience is going to be needed. Ideally in the Premier League, but we don't have anyone who's available in the Premier League who would probably take a punt on. But for me, De Vrij would be first choice. Bastoni would be first choice, of course. Then De Vrij, a Skriniar, which again is unlikely. Then the Indikas and the Bremers as well. But Bremer is great. But for me personally, I think the experience is needed. And at his age, a De Vrij would be ideal, man. I think.
Yeah. What is De Vrij? He's 30 years old, isn't he?
About 28, 29, yeah.
Yeah, okay. What about De Ligt? Any interest in De Ligt? Is it like his stocks come down a little bit, or is he still going to be too much on a
Chelsea?
You think it's going to go Chelsea?
Yeah, it looks
Chelsea
like
they said they'll give him Bremer, not Bremer. Who's the German guy? Why have I forgotten his name? The German striker, Werner. Yeah, Timo Werner and cash. So he may be in London very soon, but unfortunately, he won't be with Tottenham.
I'm big up on blocking that N17 guy. I mean, fucking hell, man.
Yeah.
If you're going to start sporting Burnley, because we're giving our opinions on players who potentially might become, or no, not even potentially, are linked with Spurs, and you're losing a shit like that, mate, you're better off sporting Burnley. Good riddance, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, he's been pretty negative the entire stream, but and
we've got Scott M in the chat. Fucking hell. That's saying something.
Scott M, you are like that's the level.
That's it. Yeah.
Love you, Scott. Love you, buddy. All right. Last bit of news. Well, not last bit of news, but a little bit of news coming out. Team Talk are talking about Kim Min-jae. He still remains possible for Tottenham. Tottenham's potential move for Son Heung-min's international teammate Kim Min-jae remains possible rather than probable, according to one reporter. The giant South Korean defender has been strongly linked with a switch to North London over the past 12 months. He's on the list, but he's not necessarily at the top of the list. He's a possible rather than a probable, is according to Chris Cowlin's channel.
We'll get him when we get Diamao.
I'm sorry, I've got to go first on this one. If anyone in God's green earth tell me that isn't a Daniel Levy signing, then you're wrong. Then you're completely, totally, and utterly bonkers. Because, like Bob said, Damio, these are players that we've wanted for the last three managers, even when they haven't been there. This one, and has Antonio Conte ever inquired about him? No. This is not an Antonio Conte. Whether he comes or not, this is not an Antonio Conte signing. Listen, he may come and be fantastic. Antonio Conte has not said to Paratici, go get me this guy. Without a shadow of a doubt, this is a Daniel Levy signing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Has he got any talent at all, Tommy, in your mind? Would you have him?
Who's this?
Kim Min-jae.
Oh, right. Yeah. I have no knowledge of him other than he's been linked with us over the last season or two. That's it. I can't say much. I can't say much more.
I don't know either, to be honest.
I will say, is Tomiyasu South Korean as well, isn't he?
Japanese.
Oh, Japanese. Thank God Guguma's not here. But,
and I've just been cancelled.
Yeah. Tomiyasu, yeah. I think Tomiyasu would have been a good signing for it at the back, to be honest with you. And we missed out on him. I think £15 million would have been all right. So Kim, he's from from the same. Let's just say he's from Asia as well. Don't know a great deal about him. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't know a great deal about him, but as I said, look, if Conte's interested, as Brian said, I can't see him. I can't see Conte looking at this guy and targeting this guy. And as Brian said, telling Paratici that this is the guy I want. But yeah, I don't know a great deal about him.
Can I just ask you guys a question? Do you got? I know Kuba, you got to drop soon, right? You got to go on to.
Yeah, I've got about 25 minutes, something like that.
Do you guys? Are you guys? Yeah,
I've got 25.
You got 25. Okay, I was going to offer Will Stewart the chance to come in, but I don't know if there's much more to talk about. let me know, Bobby. Have you got anywhere to go?
I've still got about half an hour, 45 minutes.
Okay, you know
what, are you doing another 7-hour stream?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
I was in the mood. I was suddenly going.
In the
Sean,
walls
I've even got the WhatsApp. I've even got the WhatsApp where Sean said, "Yeah, it's only been 2 hours, nothing crazy." I was like,
yeah, we've got proof.
Yeah, here we go.
I got the taste for it. Tommy, how much time have you got left?
Can I just have my say on this £100 million, £100 million withdrawal from Tottenham? Can I just have a point of that?
Yeah, of course. Of course.
I know you covered it early on, and I
no, but you didn't get a chance to have a say on it. So yeah, go where you want. Yeah.
I kind of going to piggyback on what Tommy said earlier. Why announce it? For me, and I know we've got different opinions on this with regards to how much of the fan base have an effect on ENIC. I personally think there is something there. And I do believe ENIC know that they are under a bit of pressure from some of the fan base, not majority. I'm not going to say majority, but some of the fan base. There is absolutely no reason for them to announce this. I know there's financial aspects that they would have had to, but there's no reason to make a big hoo-ha. They could have quite easily, soundly announced it, not made a boo. There's no way they make that. And if you're telling me there's other ways of withdrawing 100 million out of a club, out of ENIC without making it a grand spectacle, then I don't know if that's the case. But for them to do this and announce this to the fan base, knowing full well that in some of the fan base, their reputation on the line, they would not do that if they weren't going to follow through. Yeah. I think it's absolutely stupid and silly of them to come out and say we're drawing £100 million for transfers, and that's what's essentially what the statement says. So for them to withdraw it and then not spend it, I think is illogical, and I think they're just making a rod for their own back. So I believe they will spend it, and also believe people do need to calm down. Brian, I know, man, it isn't directed at you, but there's still 2 weeks before we go away to the trip in Korea. Is it beyond the realms of possibility that we buy 3 more players before then? I don't think it is. I think we'll get 3 to 4 players.
When is the Korea trip? July the.
In 2 weeks, yeah, in 2 weeks.
I think next week.
You believe, Bobby? You serious? You believe we're going to get 3 or 4 in before that?
I reckon we'll get. There is no. I'll say
one,
there is
at least one.
Listen, we've got 3 players in the beginning before the window starts.
No, I mean, in the next 2 weeks, I think there's so much going to happen next week. I think there's going to be streams all day, every day, because there's going to be so much fucking shit happening.
I believe there's a possibility. I believe there's every chance that we could get 3 players in before they go away to Korea. I believe that's
in what positions, Bobby? In what positions?
I mean, that's a whole different subject. In my opinion, I think our creativity needs to come from the wing backs. The sooner we get them in, the better for me. They get used to the players. They get used to Conte. They get used to formation. They get used to the way of playing. You know, one thing Jose never did was put that in place. A way of playing, a formation, a style of playing, and an identity. Conte's already done that with average players. So for me, wing backs is a must. In an ideal world, that'll be a must. But if that isn't the case, 3 quality players in before we go away to Korea, I believe is possible. Do I believe that'll happen? Yeah, I'd say I'm 70% sure.
What would you be happy with? It's an interesting question. We've got 2 weeks, right? So they go away, next Friday, is it? Saturday week. Saturday week, right? So we got
Saturday week, yeah.
14 days. Bearing in mind that all of the players that were on international duty have now had their 2-weeker, if that's all they take. Maybe some take more, whatever. But now they're back. I'm not suggesting that. I know there's a lot, we spoke about this earlier, a lot of people in the comments saying a player doesn't need to be around for the transfer to be negotiated. That's what agents are for. I take all that point. But let's just, in my mind, I think you're going to see Monday morning, you're going to see a hell of a lot of shirts being held up. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
I don't say Tuesday, Sean. That's the day I fly. That'll be the typical day that he does everything, won't it?
I'm not saying Tottenham.
Everything on Tuesday.
Across the Premier League, I think you're going to see a lot of teams with a lot of announcements. And so I'm going to ask you this one. sorry, quickly, Bobby. Whatever you want to say, I'll let you say it.
Yeah, just if there's three positions, mate, I'd say right wing back, centre back, and an attacker.
And you think all three of them could be done in the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, I don't see why not. Why not?
I like that. I like that. It makes me feel like I've had a drink of vodka, even though I have. But you know what I mean? It makes me feel like there's something happening. Kuba, how many transfers do you think we can get done before career? Realistically.
How many can we?
Now, how many will we? How many will we in your mind before career?
Breaking news from Will, by the way.
Oh, wait a minute.
Los Angeles.
Hang on a minute.
LA.
Where is it? Where's the breaking news? It's already up. It's already up.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I love dropping a little video clip in.
Good on him. Good on him.
Is he actually going to LAFC? So Cardiff are fucking furious. Is that true? Is that dropping right now?
I'll double check, mate. I'll double check.
We're all just making it up.
That's just reeks of one last payday, doesn't it?
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that though, Coov, is it?
Yeah, well,
he's got enough.
Unless you're an LAFC fan and see that he's shot.
Kuba, how many players do you think we will get done before? I think 2. For me, I think 2. I'm not sure where, but I think 2 will be done before the end of next week.
My optimistic side, I think we could get 3 done.
Wow.
My realistic side, get 1 done. But I'm starting to get pessimistic and thinking we're not going to get any done before pre-season starts.
Maybe a player
I think we'll be dragging heels, trying to get a proper deal out of people. I can't shake that feeling. There's 20 odd years of evidence to suggest that's the way it'll be. Until we start seeing tangible evidence that things have finally changed for the good, that creeping horrible feeling is there. I don't want to feel that way about it, but I can't help it. There is a big doubt about our Mr. Wonderful in the chairman's position.
Okay.
We'll see. Could we though? Let's go on the could we 3.
I think Coov with me, mate. It's and you know as well as I do how long I've supported Spurs and Sean, we've had little discussions with regards to that ill feeling or the sceptical feeling about the whole ENIC regime and how I'm sceptical. But then again, I can't be a hypocrite and say, look, positive thinking, expect it, want it, hope for it, believe it, go for it. Let's wish it, man. Let's wish it as much as we can. And I honestly believe, as far-fetched and over the top it might sound, if we want it bad enough, we'll get it done, man. We want 3 players in, want it, demand it. Every stream, we need 3 players in. There's nothing negative about that. That's wanting your own club to succeed. There's nothing negative about demanding. Nothing negative about Brian being a bit worried about or his Levy senses tingling. Nothing negative about it because he wants the best for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. There's different angles to go about it, but if we want it, let's expect it, let's believe it, let's demand it. As a big club, we should be demanding 3 players in before. The whole, it's not going to happen, defeatist, we've been there. That's Spursy. You want to get rid of the Spursy tag, get rid of that kind of fucking tag.
Yeah.
Want it.
Here's one thing I'll add to it then, from my own point of view. As far as getting anything done goes, it will be done from Paratici. Anything Levy gets involved in won't get done, and I'm going to
throw that in there, didn't you? Had to throw it in there.
I'm going to stick with that.
Tommy,
it's no coincidence that the Jed Spence deal is going flat, and Daniel Levy's linked with negotiating.
Could it not be? I'm kind of going into the in the wall question for later on this evening, but could it be as simple as it's not that good? The recruitment team, Paratici and the recruitment team looked at him and think, you know what, you're not worth 15 million, mate.
Yeah, Paratici said, Daniel, I'm going to Italy to get shit done over there. You handle Spence, you get it done, but don't pay above 10 because he ain't worth that much to us.
If he's not that good, then why are we going for him?
Because he's one for the future.
Oh, don't say that. Don't say that fucking line.
Don't say that, man.
Don't say that line.
No,
I don't think it is. We need players to take us to the next level. And Spence might be that for the future, but for me, isn't that right? He is not the answer to right wing back for our club right now. Yeah. He's not that.
Such
that right wing back is going to take us.
We've literally just been fed the narrative that we are going to be building for the here and now.
Yeah.
And not the future.
So why are you worried about why are you worried about Jed Spence not being signed?
No, I think it's the way we're going about it.
No, because Daniel, people that have a positivity bias, who don't like Daniel Levy, they've had to kind of go, well, now shit, things might have changed. 150 million quid coming in. You know, now Paratici may be like stepping forward, and Daniel Levy stepping back, but they're waiting.
No, I don't. No, I don't. I go mad at what you're saying.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, let me finish my rant, and then you can come in.
Yeah.
I think that I believe, and it's just my speculation, and I have a positivity bias myself. So I'm not saying that positivity biases are a one-sided street here, but I think that a lot of people that have been, I'm not no one specific, but a lot of people that are on the Daniel Levy, negative stance, they have had to bite their tongue a little bit over the last, couple of months when we finished top 4 when they didn't think we would, and then we've suddenly signed 3 early players, and they're like, oh fuck, that doesn't suit my narrative. And the second that they read an article that says that Daniel Levy's taken over control and that particular deal is stalling, even if they don't even want that Jed Spence, they're straight out with the knives and say, fucking see, nothing's changed. Daniel Levy's back to his old tricks. And we don't know that. So I just think it's positivity biases like screaming from the rooftops. Go on, Brian. Tell me I'm an idiot.
Yeah, so I'm not going to tell you you're an idiot, Sean. You just use words that you shouldn't use at time. Well, what happens, you've got to remember, like Bob Spurs said, we are like we are and feel like we feel because we want the best for Tottenham Hotspur. I don't like having to scream, Levy's done this, Levy's done that, Levy didn't do this, Levy did. That's not what we're here. We're here to all support Tottenham. So what I'm getting about, when it comes to this, when you're saying positivity bias, like Bob Spurs said, let's hope it, let's want it, let's believe it, let's do it. 3 players are coming. I did that for 8 years before I started thinking, right, here we go. Forget how long I've been Levy out because of Martin Yole. I'll take you back to the Harry Redknapp season when we were second in the league before his court case, before the England rumours and everything, and he wanted Tevez and Cahill. And we were dying for players. We had a genuine shot at the league title. Genuine. This is before all the huge big wigs were there, the Man Cities, the whatever. And the way to do that was to bring in on transfer deadline day, Zaha and Nelson. I spent that whole month excited. That whole month thinking, right, let's do it. There has been season after season after season where I've been, come on, let's do it. And he hasn't. So, yes, I'm positive with what he's done at the start, but to say, like Hoover said, this has been going on for so long, and it takes, when you've been hit and you've been kicked in the nads, you've been put down so many goddamn times, it takes a long time to get you up. It's like when you're hearing the Rocky music at the end when he starts winning the fight round. Yeah. Well, I'm nowhere near hearing that music yet.
No, I know. I wasn't aiming this at you.
I know you're saying it to me, but when you label people that are Levy out, and you bring it out.
I'm just saying that there's a portion of people that are Levy in that are more Levy in than I am. Right? I'm not. I've always said this. I don't think I'm Levy in, but I just critique the argument. I try to attack.
You do.
I just feel like that. There's some people There's some people that are waiting with bated breath. Not you, Brian, maybe, but
I know.
There's some people that are waiting for their chance to say, "See, nothing's fucking changed," because they don't like to admit that things might have changed, and we don't know what the truth is with Jed Spence.
What I'm saying, and this isn't directed mainly at you, Sean. There's thousands of people on Twitter or other social media or go in chats that just think, don't worry, it's all changing now. We've all heard this. We have all heard this. I have said it. I'm sure Kuva would be the same. That if he did it well this season, we'd come out and say, do you know what? This is what we want to see. Exactly. This is what this club should be doing. This is how the big boys operate. Let's see more of this. Well done for doing what you did. Now keep it going.
Yeah.
That's the part. Now, when it comes to people, Bob is one of the most positive people you'd see before everything that happened. Now he's come out of where he was. And like he said, with top 4, believe, and I get all that. I get all that. I'm with it. But when it comes to this, he's going 3 players before Korea. And as I said at the beginning of the stream and throughout the stream, I believe we will spend the money and we will get the right players in. I just don't think 3 will be in before Korea. 2 at a push.
Yeah.
And then you've got to look at it. And as Bob said as well, players of real quality.
Yeah.
Real. I just
it's fine, Brian. I hear your point, mate. It's absolutely fine. Kuba, I know you've got to leave in a second, but we are going to wrap it up in a second as well, mate. Kuba, unless you got something to say about this specific point, I do want to get Tommy's point as well on the transfers. Kuba,
very, very quickly, I'll sort of wrap it up for my own segment then. I agree with a lot of what Bob says because he's always very much in tune with the way I look at the club as well, generally speaking, to the point where, I almost respect him at times. For me, this transfer window, and I love my analogies at times. I look at it as we're out on the water now in the fishing boat. Weather's nice. There's possibility of getting in some great fish. We've been having a lovely time catching in some nice couple of little fish here and there. Everything's going well. We're waiting for the big catch to come in. But from my point of view, my skepticism, I'm waiting for those 3 big barrels to pop up out of the water. The boat gets trashed by the great white.
Lovely movie.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. Cheers, Kuba. But listen, we're going to wrap it up shortly. We're going to come to Tommy for last words, mate. Last words, Tommy. Before we get to, what I'm going to do? I'm going to, as you give me your answer, I'm going to start to get everyone's channels together. Tommy, what do you think? How many signings do you think we can do for the end of the window? How many do you think we can do before Korea? And you can include players going out as well in your answer if you'd like.
Well, I hope there are players going out. It's essential we do get players going out. Look, I think we can certainly sign Spence. I think if Spence is one of them, we can get him done next week. And other players that are sort of in the Premier League, we've seen how quick we do things with Fraser Forster, especially Bissouma, because we got a bid accepted. The next day, we gave him the contract. Next day, he had the medical. He signed. We done it fast. We done it quickly. So you can get a lot done in a week. So potentially, we can get 3 or 4 players in. I think the Spence one's been going on for long enough where it would be easy. It'd be easy. He would accept a relatively low contract fee because he's coming to the Premier League. He's unproven. So I think 3. I think 2 are possible if it's Spence and one of the Brazilian boys in the Premier League, either Richarlison, Rafinha, or Jesus. So I think 2 is the maximum we could see, and I'm not that worried how many we do end up signing just going just before South Korea. But they've got to be the right players as well. They absolutely have to be the right players. We can't just do it quickly to try and get them in and to attain to Conte's philosophy.
Is Jed Spence one of those 2 or 3 that you
I don't think so. But if he signs him, you must see something in him. You must see something where he's going to go with him next season as the right wing back. And if Conte sees that, then we have to go with Conte. But
so do you agree with Hollywood Hotspur here? Hollywood Hotspur, mate. Super appreciate the super chat, man. Absolutely means the world to me. Late on, bro. Yes, love you, bro. Tommy, tell me, do you agree with him? He reckons the Don has 2 to 3 Serie A players lined up for July the 1st. Are you thinking that? Are you thinking like 2 to 3, but of Serie A? We're going over there and thinking, Serie A,
Who's the Don? Don Levy, Don Paratici, or Don Conte?
Don Paratici.
There's only one Don. There's only one Don, and that's Conte. The only Don is Conte. Okay. The others, no way. Look, at the end of the day, I believe that's the right word. Lining up. Lining up's good. With is the right word for Paratici, because I don't think he handles any negotiations. I've said it for a long time. There's no chance he's actually handling the transfer bids and the contracts offered. There's no way. He was sacked from Juventus for doing that for 2 seasons. The 2 seasons he was in charge of that, he got sacked.
So you're a Paratici skeptic. You're a skeptic of Paratici, are you? Okay.
Not Paratici. I don't think he's got any control. It's not about Paratici. I mean, he got sacked from Juventus. He sold Cancelo.
People forget his history.
He sold Cancelo. He signed Ramsey on a 300k a week contract, who's now taking 20k at Rangers. He signed Rabiot, who they're going to sell for 15 grand, cost 250 grand. So, and Cancelo is probably the best fullback, one of the best fullbacks in the world. Swapped him with Danilo. And Danilo can't get above Emerson Royal in the Brazil squad. So, he does some dodgy business.
It's all true. It's all very
I was
true.
talking to a Juventus guy. And he's like, for every good signing Paratici made, he made 3 bad ones. And if you look at last summer, if Paratici was in control, then that represented perfectly, doesn't it? I mean, Romero was a great deal. Then you've got Gil, Golini, Sarr, and Royal. You've got 4 bad ones, in fact. Not that we've seen Sarr play yet.
He's got a 1 and 2 batting average, right? Like he's not,
but I don't care about Paratici. I believe Conte is the man. Conte is old school. He's from the 90s where the managers had control. They had control over players coming in. So I believe Conte is the one that got Kulusevski and Bentancur. He's the factor. He's the big factor. He's the only Don. So, Levy is he knows what he's doing when it comes to money. So he's not going to get a sacked Juventus director of football in and give him the keys to the city. There's absolutely no chance. He will be the chief scout. He'll be running the scouts, telling the scouts where to go, and he will be, lining up the players. But if you're talking contract negotiations and transfer, it's not happening. It's not happening. You cannot trust Paratici with that. He was sacked doing it. You cannot trust Paratici. Only one Don. Conte, can I just say one thing? Can I just say one thing?
Anything you want.
People watch Martin Terrier watch Rennes Martin Terrier, left winger, and tell me he doesn't remind you of Heung-min Son in every way. Left winger, scored 20 goals. To him I've seen him a few times in Ligue 1. Like I chuck it on BT Sports sometimes on a Sunday. Watch Terrier. He is Son. He is Son Heung-min. If you get rid of Bergwijn and you loan Gil out, get Terrier in.
Is this the Terrier that's been linked to Manchester United?
Oh, everyone's linked with Manchester United. Everyone's been linked with Manchester United. But that is probably the guy, the Rennes guy. Watch him play 20 goals from the left wing. Comes inside, smashes it into the bottom right corner like Son does. Does pace, is absolutely fantastic player. So have a look at Terrier, even if it's just on YouTube, and tell me he doesn't remind you of Heung-min Son, because that is a serious player there.
Mate, what a last absolute bombastic statement, Tommy. You are always welcome on this channel, my friend. You're a fantastic insights. Hollywood Hotspur, I hope that answers your question, my friend. Thank you so much.
No one's called him a fool, though. He wants people to call him fool.
I'll call you. You're a fool. I'll call you. You're a fool. I still like the rest of your comment. It makes a lot of sense. You fool.
He's just got more hope left in the tank than.
No, I love it, man. I hope life's treating you well out in LA, my friend, and I hope you're going to enjoy Gareth Bale over there in next season. It's mad and well dropped from Fabrizio Romano via Will Stewart on this channel. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Tommy Talks Balls channel is in the chat. Tommy, man, you've been absolutely fantastic. We're going to wrap it up now, guys. We're going to go around the circle. Start with you, Tommy, man. Thank you so much for coming on, bro. This is your second debut. Last time we got to second base with you, we had a little bit of fun. We felt around. We didn't go the whole way. Today, you've really gone the whole way. Absolutely adore you coming up. Please come back again. What's happening on the Hotspur hood, my friend?
Yeah. Oh, thanks ever so much for having me. As I said, it's not exactly losing my virginity today on your show, but from the start. I lost my virginity from the start on one of your shows today. It's been brilliant. It's been fantastic. I love the discussion. I love the Levy out stuff, because I'm not that big. I'm not that big on the business side of things. And I know you guys are yourself, Sean. So it's good to just listen. It's good to just listen sometimes. So yeah, thanks ever so much for having me. Hotspur Hood. It's transfers. It's all transfers right now. When the season gets going, we'll do the previews and the reactions. But there's quite a few of us now. Called the Hotspur Hood, and there's like 4 or 5 of us. We're all part of it, and we're and as I said, I do a lot of solo streams.
Who's the full group? It's you, Marlon,
Haas.
Sorry, not Haas. Yeah.
Oh, Colin, Talking Ball. He's going to start doing some stateside stuff.
Colin's coming on as well, is he? Wow.
He's going to start doing some stateside stuff. So we've got lots of things happening. We try and cover all aspects, but it is transfer season, so a lot of the streams are going to be transfers, and I do a lot of solo transfers. So if you fancy it, and if that's something you'd like to have a look at, Hotspur Hood, get over there and subscribe, but not before you subscribe to Sean, obviously. Oh my god, magnificent! I think he was watching 400 people live today. 400 people live.
I think got to 430.
Wow!
People, and was like,
smash that like.
It's insane.
Smash that like, people. Let's 300. It's got to be 300 likes, surely.
Cheers, Tommy. I appreciate you so much. And the crowd, the people in the comments absolutely adored you, man. Look, we just subscribe. People are saying that, where is he? Tommy Talk Sense.
I won't go up for.
I won't go. Yeah.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
I'll make him a wankety wank debut. I'll make him a wankety wank debut tonight as well. That's really fun.
All I have to say is don't read out that Tommy Talk Sense because he'll be thinking about a 15th name change.
Yeah.
Brian, what's happening on Tottenham, mate? As always, man, you always come on and you're passionate and you're fucking deliberate, and I love that about you, bro. You're absolutely always talking with great ideas as well for Tottenham's future. And listen, you and I can go back and forth on the Levy thing, but we always come from both the same heart, which is where we want Tottenham to succeed. So always a pleasure in here, man. Love you like a brother. What's happening on Tottenham on tour coming up?
There's going to be a lot more with me going back to Toronto next week. Ryan Ireland's going to be a lot more free, so there'll be a lot more content coming out. There is, and if Danny's still in the chat, hopefully he's working on. There should be. We did a great Ask Us Anything yesterday, and
I watched that.
So we're going to put a few things out from that. Danny will be uploading one very, very shortly. Thank you, Jazz, and thank you everyone. And yeah, there will be a lot more coming from Tottenham on tour. We've got some new shows, hopefully with transfers. The return of Straight Outta Conte will be coming back because of transfer news, not just press conference before games. There will be another mental health special somewhere at the beginning of the season. And yeah, there's loads and loads coming from us. So yeah, if you can check out Tottenham on tour, you know what to do.
Thank you, Brian. Absolutely appreciate you, man. It's been a wonderful stroke, 2.5 hours, and we got it all done. We got everything done. Bob Spur,
unbelievably.
Man, love you for coming on, bro. As always, man, you're always a pleasure on here. What's happening? Bob Spur TV, guys, is also in the link. Guys, just quickly, just hit the link. There's 350 people watching. Just hit those links. It just opens up another tab. You haven't even got to miss the last 5 minutes of the show. Just open up another tab and you just hit the subscribe button and that's it. Then you can watch them later on and you can hit the notification bell as well. And then you can come back and just watch us wrap it up here. Bob Spur, your link is also in the channel, my friend. What's coming up?
First of all, like Tom said, thanks for having us on. And make sure you subscribe to this channel. I am 30 odd away from 2K. So if there are any of these 30 people who are watching, want to subscribe, them by all means do so.
Come on, guys, get it done.
In the wall later, 10:45. We're talking about. I don't know if there's any transfer talk to be left. Talk about. It's not our kind of show. We'll speak about Spurs, iconic Spurs, football moments. Guess the movie poster, and of course Wankety Wank, which I've got Tommy and Gareth Mack making their debut on. And yeah, any other random shit we can think of. Conspiracy theories will be there as well. And yeah, then anything goes. And 2 big announcements I'll be exclusively revealing on In the Wall later on this evening. It's 10:45 p.m. UK time.
Amazing. And Kuva, last but by absolute no means least, my partner in crime. Oh, he's always here. He's always the first guy I bring to the show. Where am I sending the love? Oh, I'm sending my love to you, buddy. Where am I sending your love right now? Pick a channel, bro. Any channel.
Well, Bob's already been bigged up for tonight. With Tommy on, I'm going to have to craft something a little bit special for a few replies, I think. Just give them a little...
Just make it one of the 20 that I've got in front of me. Otherwise, I'm going to have to go searching for it. So make it something...
in that case, I'm going to go with Bobby K and 3 Spurs boys because I shall be on there a little bit later.
Can do.
And of course, Brian can big up his own channel. Everybody knows who Brian is anyway. He don't need to big up his channel. Just flick it on and see where the shouting is. That'll be Brian.
Oh yeah,
lovely. Boys, once again, 3 Spurs boys just hit, or they just released their 300 subscriber video. A wonderful fledgling channel. It's been going for a month or 2, and they're growing like great guns. They got the 2 lovely boys, Krish and Jay, and obviously Bobby K, the captain of the ship over there. It's a wonderful channel, and they got some really cool content as well. Really cool guests, and obviously they got amazing intro videos made by this man right below me. So if you do need any of those things done, I don't know if Bob Spur, if you're selling those services or if you just do them for people.
I shouldn't I? But
you should sell them, mate. They're very cool.
Goodness of my heart, I suppose.
Very cool. And last but one, is it too late? Is the Bob Spur NHS TV link? Is it finished? on that page?
No, it's still ongoing. There is, like I say, announcement to be made later on, but we're still taking donations. But people could probably figure out what it is, but I will want to announce it later on,
just in case anyone's got any.
One thing I can confirm: the pennant, which was signed by the first teamers.
Oh wow!
First teamers. This was given big up to Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Don't hear that many positive things from them, but I reached out to them. Never thought much about it. So did Paddy Harnett. They sent through authentic. It's got the certificate and everything, signed by first teamers at Spurs. And I did I did an auction on
when did you
on
auction
Twitter.
it, by the way?
Sorry?
On Twitter, you auctioned
on Twitter, yeah. So I put the auction out. I announced it on We Are Tottenham TV yesterday. And bid started at 65 quid. I left it till 7 p.m. last night. And congratulations to Chris from Virginia, the one we spoke about, Brian.
Yep.
Won the auction and he's pledged £261.
Wow.
Which goes towards the NHS.
And how close are you to that £2,000 target? Which then
very close.
If you get 2,000, some big guy then doubles it up, doesn't they?
Yeah, there's a bunch of CEOs / trustees who will be doubling as soon as we get to 2K.
And what do you want right now?
2K. You need 2K money. You need 2K subs
to get 4K.
Get it in.
Yeah,
Get it in, people.
Guys, that's absolutely massive. It's so important. If you've got five quid here, 10 quid there, if you're thinking about doing a super chat later on today on someone's channel, maybe just for the purposes of bigger things in life, save that and then go and put it into Bob Spur TV NHS on PayPal. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go all the money that I got today on super chats, whatever that looks like. I'm going to go into Bob. I'm going to donate that immediately across to the Bob Spur Bob Spur TV NHS, well just to help you get there, mate. If it gets you over 2,000 and then someone comes in and makes that to 4,000, that's a big deal. So I don't know how close you are. How far away from 2,000 are you?
Not far. I'll announce it on
fair.
We'll speak backstage. Yeah.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap it up there. There's still 300 people watching, even though we're wrapping up, and there's still 50 on other socials. If you don't mind, please hit the like button and the subscribe button and the notification bell, because you know that on this channel we go live very impromptu. I want to say thank you so much to Kuba, to Tommy Talks Ball, to Tommy Mitchell even, to Brian Daigle, to Bob Spur TV. I want to say thank you to everybody in the chat. I also want to say a special thank you to Jack Kanicki, who's a new member of the show. I want to say thank you to Eric Backer. I want to say thank you to Val Taylor, who's a new member, to Ben Ray, to Terence, and to Faz Radfar. I didn't even bring this one up. Shit, completely forgot. We'll do this right now. Super quick, Faz. Thank you so much. Super quick. Will Spurs break its individual transfer record this summer? Just quickly go around the houses and thank you, Faz, for the support. Kuba, are we going to break it this summer?
No.
Okay. Tommy, we're going to break it?
No.
60 million. What was it? Ndombele was 60, right? So he's got to be above 60. Are we going to break it, Tommy? Sorry.
But if we sign Hakimi or Rafinha, we're going to have to. So,
we will. But I don't think we'll sign him.
Brian, are we going to break it or not?
We are going to break it. I think we will.
Love that.
Like mate. I said, I've said the whole time, I've got no doubt we'll spend the money. It's just a case of when. And like Tommy just literally said, if Richarlison or Rafinha come in, it's done. So yeah, that part I will definitely say, I think we will break the transfer record.
Can't wait. It's going to be fucking exciting if we do. Bob Spur, do we break it? Yes or no?
100% yes. And he better do.
Oh, this guy. I'm going to go and finish off in the bathroom.
Oh, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is it from us at the Spurs Talk Show. As always, guys, thanks to everybody in the comments, in the chat, super chats, members, and in the panel. I love you all. We'll see you again tomorrow on Monday, no doubt. And I'll see these guys later on their various streams. Thank you, everybody. And as always, guys, bye-bye.